Hi AJ, how are you doing, mate?
Frank, I'm not doing too bad. Not too bad. I'm looking forward to the weekend. I feel like I'm burnt out already. It's 6:30 on a Thursday, and I feel like I'm knackered. I've done 4 days of work, and that's it.
I've had a bit of a bug. I've been trying to shake that off, so I've not been feeling particularly great myself. This weather,
It's inconsistent.
it's horrible, isn't it?
I don't mind it, me. Like I'm really a weird one, but
I don't mind when I'm out in it.
Uh-huh.
If I'm out and about in it, I don't mind because, like you say, breathing in the fresh air and, well, you didn't say that, but probably it's probably what you're thinking.
It's got to be good for you.
It's nice to breathe the fresh air and be out listening to the birds sing. And
yeah. So there was a thunderstorm on Wednesday night. Don't know if you caught the thunderstorm, did you?
Well, I didn't personally hear the thunderstorm, but somebody turned around and said that there was a lamppost that was struck by lightning in Shevington.
Nice. Didn't know about that. No, well, I mean, we didn't get any.
I think it was Shevington anyway.
Might have been. We didn't get any power outages. But no, there was a thunderstorm. And guess who walked the dog? Right in the middle of it.
You did?
I did. So as soon as I got outside with Brody, we've been walking for about 10 seconds. All of a sudden, we hear the first clap of thunder. Brody's not bothered about it. He's okay with loud noises. But then 30 seconds later, the heavens open, and I'm absolutely soaked to the skin. Brody is not a fan of rain, so he'll still walk, but he'll want to get out of it as soon as he can. Yeah. So there we are, caught in amongst the deluge of forever flowing rain, freezing cold. All the clothes stuck to my skin. He's requiring a serious towel down before he can even think about going on the carpet.
What's he like with the fireworks? Then if he's okay with the thunder?
Absolutely fine.
Is he?
Absolutely fine with them. First time he ever come across them was last year's bonfire night. We'd had him in the house for about 5 months at that point. So he popped his head up when he heard a few fireworks. Just a few soothing words, and then he popped his head back down again. He's absolutely fine with them, which is a blessing. God
bless Lottie's poor little cotton socks, but she hated it. The older she got, the worse she got.
Oh, really?
We had to put music on, soothing music for dogs.
So I've heard that there's actual music for dogs. Yeah, that can actually stimulate their hearing sensors to a point that. You know.
It calms them down, blocks the other sound out.
Exactly. Yeah.
So listen, the skin is waterproof anyway. So I mean, you just had to dry your clothes out in the end, didn't you?
Basically,
so
yes.
Not much drama then, really.
No, but it's irritating. I would have rather not walked in the thunderstorm. But then, as soon as we got back, towelled ourselves off, got changed, all of that carry on. Sun came out.
Oh, that's unbelievable.
What the hell?
Not having that. That's naughty, though.
It's infuriating. I prefer to be inside during a thunderstorm.
Yeah. So listen, we'll talk later at the in the first part of the show. We'll talk about our little trip to Clitheroe.
Yes, we will.
We'll talk about that, but not for now. What else have you been up to this week? Well, I'll tell you what I've been up to.
Yeah, your life is far more interesting than mine.
No, it's not really.
Yes, it is.
It's not really. So, Rowan is away at Newcastle over the weekend.
She is.
I've come back from the football, and I've gone directly to the bingo on my own.
Oh, mate. Okay.
Yeah. Did I win? I can't remember whether I won or not. I don't think I did.
You'd won prior to it.
On the Friday night, I won on the Friday night.
Yes, you did.
And I didn't win on the Saturday. Oh, no, Saturday. I tell a lie, I won about £50.
It's not
I
bad.
called 5 times. And then I went home, totally forgot about it altogether because I'm a big boxing fan, but absolutely totally forgot about it. Tyson Fury. So by the time I'd settled down, I'm thinking to myself, it'll be pay-per-view. And of course it wasn't, it was on Netflix.
It was on Netflix.
So I went straight onto Netflix and I started watching...
the boxing.
Yeah, so I was in my element watching the boxing. And of course, I get really, really worried about people that, boxers that have made an impression on me through the course of my life is always the fear of them losing at some stage. And of course, the last 2 outings, Tyson Fury lost to Usyk, didn't he?
Back to back.
So I didn't really know what to expect when he was fighting against this other fella. I can't even remember his name now. But some Russian fellow, I think it was.
Maybe, I can't remember his name.
But
anyway,
you start to think, well, you listen to his dad, and his dad says that he's had one punch or he's worried that he's had one punch too many. He'll start slurring his words next and what have you. So obviously his dad is worried about him. So I'm thinking to myself, there's potential for him to get flattened again and get completely humbled by somebody that's not really had a remarkable career.
True.
But you wonder whether the people, the powers behind it, have had a really good look at it and thought, no, it's a gamble worth taking.
Yeah, I think for Tyson, stepping out of the game for a bit probably did him a bit of good. I know we're sort of used to him retiring sort of 6 times or so now, but I'd like to think that this kind of swan song chapter of his career, because he's now, what is he, 37? Something like that? 39, I think. 39.
He's had more comebacks than Frank Sinatra, hasn't he? Let's put it that way. But listen, this is a perfect segue to what I've been watching on the telly. So,
Frank Sinatra?
No. I've been watching the At Home with the Furies on Netflix. So that's a Netflix series as well.
Yes, it is.
So it's post Usyk, the second fight.
Oh, wow.
And it's the second series. So what's the first series?
Yep, so did I.
So the second series, he's still living in Morecambe, but he's in the process of moving to the Isle of Man, I think.
Yeah, and
I've not got that far on I don't know whether it comes up on this particular series, but it shows you coming back from retirement back into fighting again, making the decision to fight again. That's
fascinating, that, because I did watch the first season and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was excellent, and I think this second season it sort of sits on a really important part of Tyson Fury's life and career. Obviously, he's never really tasted defeat before, and then he's had back-to-back defeats against the same guy.
But he doesn't consider them to be defeats. He thinks that he should have won on points on both. I don't know myself. I don't think he did enough.
The second one, I don't believe he did enough. I didn't see enough of the first fight to kind of get a decent opinion together. But
I felt as though he was too scared to open up.
Yeah.
Because if he opened up, it meant he was going to get sucker punched.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, he's not a quick.
So he's not as daft as he.
He's not a quick boxer either. He knew that.
Oh, I don't know. He's quite quick.
Yeah,
quick on his feet.
I think Usyk is inherently the quicker boxer, though. Whereas, Tyson's certainly taller than him by quite a bit as well. It's a good 5-6 inches difference.
6 foot now.
6'9", indeed. Yeah. Whereas I think Usyk is about 6'3". So
6'4",
yeah, 6'3", 6'4". But for me, it's really interesting that actually Tyson opens up to letting people see what he's like after experiencing those defeats and exactly how he's planning another comeback.
It's like At Home with the Osbournes, to be honest with you, isn't it? In terms of the series, very, very. I was going to say normal, down to earth family, probably a little bit more down to earth than.
Yeah, who's more normal and down to earth than a guy who says, "I need to buy a private jet"? Yeah, that's normal. That's down to earth. That's something we do.
Yeah, I just like the fact that he goes on this road trip. It's supposed to be going all the way to John O'Groat, driving up from where they live up to John O'Groat, right back down to Land's End and back again. I don't think they actually do that in the end. I think they do a tour of Scotland, but he does it in an old Passat Volkswagen. Is it a Volkswagen Passat?
Yes, it is.
An old one that needs jump starting all the time.
Freaking hell! Why
all
would
the money he's got, but that's how down to earth he is. Maybe he doesn't want to be seen to be flash, albeit he's got a nice fancy.
Did you
Land
see
Cruiser
his
as well.
mansion in Morecambe?
Oh yeah, but I mean,
exactly.
Did you see the original one, the one that he first lived in? And he stayed in that for years. When he could have upgraded, he could have.
I didn't.
He could have bought something much bigger.
I haven't seen that.
I think he's got like a sprawling £2 million mansion now near Douglas in the Isle of Man.
It's the capital.
Now he says they've gone there to get away from the obsessive fans
in Morecambe
that sort of either jump onto his land or trespass or whatever. But I think it might have a little bit more to do with the sort of taxation laws in the Isle of Man. Maybe. I don't know. But either way, that's where he is now. But yeah, good series. I think I'm halfway through it.
Amazing.
It's nice to watch something like that because it shows you, with all the money in the world, how down to earth and how. I mean, the worst problem for him is his mental health, and you do worry that eventually
the amount of punches to the head is going to take its toll.
Well, yeah. On top of the, it's not ADHD. He's got bipolar, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So that on top of the bipolar, like you say, getting punched to the head all the time doesn't do you any good. But then there's going to come a point where he literally won't be able to box again. And when it gets to that point, and he is retired, when his body retires him, then you wonder what the next journey for him is. You hope that he could influence a lot of future generations in the sport. And if not in the sport, in general, and basically say, listen, I come from a very, very working class background, and this is what I've done. Mm-hmm. But that said, like I say, all the money in the world doesn't change. It doesn't change your mental health.
No, it doesn't. No.
So that's what I've been watching, and enjoyed the fight on Saturday. Glad he won. Thought he could have decked him if he wanted to, but I think he was toying around with him a bit.
Yeah, I think it was just shaking up.
You get the usual critics then saying that, he only lasted 2 rounds with such and such a person.
Well, to be honest, you'd want to give the people a bit of what they paid for. To be honest, it is a bit of a spectacle, and he is one of those who is spectacle as well as substance. Doesn't just come in and go, I'm going to hit you, and then decks him within 10 seconds, and then that's it, done.
Yeah. The other spectacle, and the side of boxing that I don't particularly like to see, is I'm not particularly liking Conor Benn.
Oh. Why?
Well, he's a bit flashy, isn't he? So, I think post-fight, or his last fight, or the previous fight before, he bought 2 sports cars, and it's like all bling to him. It's like watching something off the, one of those American programs. What's it called?
Selling Sunset?
You know the ones where they show you around the houses.
Yeah. Well,
I think it was on MTV, wasn't it? What do they call them? They don't call them digs. What do they call them?
Pads?
Yeah, something like that. Posh pad. I don't know. Whatever they call it.
I know what you mean. I remember the show a bit. It's wealth and
he's a bit too. He's a bit too
glamour.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like the more down to earth. I like the fact that Tyson Fury paid tribute to Ricky Hatton before his boxing match, wore shorts with his name on as well.
Yeah, they're both boxers from Manchester, aren't they? Yeah. Really, so they probably had a hell of a lot in common, but probably struggled with their mental health. So you never know. They actually might have been quite tight.
Yeah,
it's all the reason for them to, on paper at least.
Yeah,
you never know.
So, what else have you been up to? Have you been up to anything at all? Have you been watching anything? Coronation Street?
Grey's Anatomy.
You've not watched Coronation?
I don't really watch TV. I get in from work, I walk the dog, I eat my dinner, and then we watch some trash on Netflix, and I fall asleep within about half an hour. Like, I'm so non-committal to TV unless it's the football, or very occasionally the rugby or the cricket, or something like that. But I don't do like TV and movies and stuff like that. I don't know. I've just been training because, like I say, the Blackpool Marathon is not this Sunday, it's the Sunday after it, so I've just got to be in sort of good preparation for that. So I ran 19 miles last Sunday.
So what are you doing? The
Blackpool Marathon.
You're doing the full marathon, Blackpool Marathon. Oh yeah, you said, didn't you? It's all on the flat, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Which
no hills.
Extremely, not in Blackpool.
You don't have to climb up the tower.
No.
That'd make it more interesting, wouldn't it, if you had to run up there?
I think it'd be more interesting as to how on earth you're going to get back down again when there's a queue on the stairwell. Not convinced.
I just think you've got to make it a bit more harder. A flat marathon is easy.
Well, tell them to get in the sea.
Says Beaky.
Says you.
Couldn't run to our gate.
Well, no, you could walk a marathon though.
Yeah, you could walk a marathon.
You could probably walk it sideways at some point.
Well, yeah, you do know about I was actually walking sideways, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, no.
I should have took my tramadol before I went.
Really should have. Have you taken it today?
Yeah, I've taken it today, unfortunately.
I don't expect you to fall asleep at some point during this show.
No, well, that does the opposite for me. I struggle to. I struggle to sleep with the pain, and I struggle to sleep without the pain on tramadol as well, because tramadol keeps me awake.
You ever thought about taking morphine?
I've thought of taking all kinds of things. I've thought of Breaking Bad. I've thought of
Well, crystal meth doesn't numb the pain, you man.
Yeah, but I don't think he started off with crystal meth, did he?
I don't think he ever took it, did he? He just knew how to grow it.
Right.
Cook it.
Cook it.
Sorry, yeah, you don't grow crystal meth.
Well, you know all the terminology. I don't even know what crystal meth is.
Yeah, some methamphetamine.
Is it?
Yeah.
Crystallised?
Apparently.
Yeah.
Ask Bryan Cranston. He knows. No, Mr. Hughes, I have no idea how to cook crystal meth or anything besides, but it's good to know that you've only contemplated taking crystal meth, although quite frankly where on earth you'd find a dealer in Dalton is beyond me. It's too middle class for that.
Do you think so?
Yes, Dalton's too middle class for crystal meth.
They reckon that, listen, I like to watch crime documentaries, but they reckon within every sort of area, within a sort of 5 mile radius, there's a drug baron hanging around.
I've seen the houses driving past here. There is absolutely a drug baron of some form living in one of them. Definitely.
Makes you wonder, doesn't it, when you see someone...
What's in your attic, Frank?
What's
in the attic?
Rowena will tell you exactly what's in there. I think.
Is she the Jessie to your Walter?
There's the only things that we're growing up there are Christmas trees.
You're growing Christmas trees.
We've got about 14 Christmas trees.
Why have you got 14 Christmas trees?
Well, she's got 14. Well, she hasn't quite got that many. I think she's probably got about 5 or 6. But she's probably got about 30,000 baubles. So what it is, that she'll change the colour every year.
Oh, all right.
So we have to store all of that. So we got
You're in rotation.
We got the loft converted to put all the junk up there.
Of course.
And all the junk is still in my garage.
It's now just rotation.
Well, I just can't work it out. She said she was doing it to clear the garage, and I can't get around the garage. I can't navigate it at all. It's a mess.
Well, garages are either for junk dropping or they're for you to convert into a gym when you hit your midlife crisis.
Well, my smaller office is my gym.
You have a treadmill.
That's me, yeah. That's my gym.
That's all he needs.
Just one treadmill.
That's all he needs.
Yeah, it's gathering dust because I've not been able to use it for a while.
That's fair.
I'm just looking at the birds fighting in the trees there.
Fight!
I thought it was a squirrel at first, but it's a bear.
Imagine a squirrel fighting a pigeon.
2 pigeons, yeah.
I don't think they're fighting. I think that might be mating.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
So listen, the paperwork's getting less and less because the season's almost
coming
to an end, which
means seasons 2 is almost coming to an end.
Yeah, so I was thinking, what do we do when the season comes to an end? Obviously, we have a couple of shows because there's the obvious playoffs and finals and whatever. Yeah. So we'll still be here for the next few weeks.
Yeah, you've not got rid of us yet.
Yeah, just thinking whether we should sort of in the close season have 1 or 2. Interviews with people that we wouldn't normally interview.
Like who?
I don't know. I'm just working on that one.
If you say you're going to get Carlo Ancelotti in to talk about his stint at Everton, absolutely fine. I'll be there for that. Otherwise,
I want somebody. I want somebody that's made a mistake, which has led to them playing lower league football, and then they've had to fight to get back to where they once were before. I'm looking for a madman, actually. Somebody that's absolutely mad, who's played at non-league football, absolutely back crazy.
I mean, is Joey Barton out on remand yet?
I was thinking of him.
Oh, I'd rather not.
No.
No, I'd rather not. I'd get really angry at him, and then all of a sudden it just escalates into being Jerry Skinner. Jerry Springer, thank you.
All right, you old enough to remember?
I remember Jerry Springer.
Is he still alive?
Yeah.
Is he?
I don't think he does the TV show, but
I don't think you're allowed to do a show like that anymore, are you? Because
Jeremy Kyle certainly doesn't. So I always thought that it was scripted. I didn't think it was real.
I I think there was a certain amount of that, but then obviously with Jeremy Kyle and what happened,
that was very real.
Suicide, that must have been
very real,
extremely real. I don't think that was the reason why he committed suicide. I think he was always likely to do that.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, I think he was always likely to do that, and that's probably why he ended up on a show like that in the first place.
Well, I remember vaguely hearing about the story, and then I watched the documentary of series of interviews afterwards. I don't think he was always going to do that, to be honest, because I think he thought that he could, if the lie detector proved that he was telling the truth and that he hadn't cheated, he'd be back with his partner and he'd be okay. But it didn't show that, and then Jeremy Kyle sort of seemed to, drive a bit more of a point to it.
But that argument would still been going ahead behind closed scenes, would it?
Yeah, but you never know how that was going to end out if he had been telling the truth. And these lie detectors are only 75% accurate.
I just don't think I don't think a TV show could push you over the edge.
I think
your life in general pushes you over the edge.
National humiliation would have absolutely pushed you over the edge.
Do you reckon?
Oh God, yeah. Do you remember? Do you honestly think Caroline Flack wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the media hounding of her? And that was so sad.
Oh, it was really tragic, yeah. There's no doubt about it. Listen, we're going
to pull ourselves out of this.
Yeah, we're going to pull ourselves back from this. We're going to talk football instead.
We are going to talk football. Let's go!
Hello and welcome to the Speaking Frankly Football Show. I'm Frank Hughes, the chairman of Skelmersdale United Football Club, and alongside me is my co-host and passionate press officer, AJ Viget. Not that being involved with the football club is a prerequisite for hosting a football podcast, but it certainly helps. We are ready to dive headfirst into the vibrant world of non-league football in the North West, and we might even take a moment to discuss some of the bigger headlines in the sport. We'll explore life in the North West counties, bring you interviews with well-known faces in the league, and analyse how local teams are performing while making bold predictions for their upcoming matches. Nothing is off the limits here. We'll be diving into all kinds of topics, including complicated refereeing decisions and regulations that often leave fans perplexed. We want to hear from you too. This is your show, so don't hesitate to reach out with topics you want us to tackle. Let's get this conversation started and enjoy every single moment. We are speaking frankly. Hello and welcome to the Speaking Frankly Football Show. This is episode 38 of season 2, and a very warm welcome to my co-host AJ Viget.
Hello Frank, hello everyone. Thank you very much for tuning into yet another episode of the Speaking Frankly Football Show. We are still here overlooking every single facet of what has been an absolutely amazing footballing season, and as the season starts to draw towards a final conclusion and all of those questions are starting to be answered, we'll be here to go over it all in fine detail and with a fine-tooth comb. So on today's show, we're going to do our usual Northwest counties roundup through the Premier Divisions and the Division 1 North and South. We're going to look further afield around the Northwest at Prescot Cables, Bury, the Linnets, Marine and Southport. And then also Clitheroe as well. We'll visit Controversial Corner and the latest updates on the email that went out from the Northern Premier League chairman.
Yeah, we're not going to swear again, are we?
We will not swear again, no. We've had our fill of it and now we're going to put on our professional masks again. In the second part of the show, we're going to be speaking to Steve Scott, the manager of Litherland Remyca, who may just perform the incredible on Saturday. And then in the third part of the show, we will do our usual roundup of the results from last week and our predictions. We'll look ahead to the fixtures and predictions in the upcoming weekend, and then we will finish with Skelmersdale United as we always do. So Frank, what is first?
Well, Northwest Counties Roundup, as you mentioned, Premier Division. So Wythenshawe secured the title with a 5-1 victory over Earlham on Tuesday night. As a result, Padiham have qualified for the playoffs for the third consecutive season. Earlham currently 6th, but still have a chance of qualifying if they beat Charnock. Chadderton need to lose against Stockport Town, but a draw could secure their place in the playoffs as they have a much better goal difference than Earlham.
Yeah, it's absolute bananas, isn't it, up there? But first, a big congratulations to Wythenshawe. They've gone straight back up at the first time of asking. Very big congratulations to James Kinsey, who has steered that ship for Wythenshawe to ensure that they'll be playing Northern Premier League football once again next season. So with them having sewn up the title, all eyes turn to the playoffs as Ramsbottom have mathematically secured second, but that still leaves one final playoff spot for contention as Atherton, Alar and Padiham have spots 3 and 4 secured. Chadderton, who we thought might be vying for the league title at one point, suffered a little bit of a judder in form, and that's opened the door up for Earlham to snatch the final playoff place in the final game of the season. So at the minute, Earlham on 84 points, Chadderton on 86. So there's still everything in it as we come into the final game of the season.
I didn't see Chadderton fighting for the playoffs. I thought that would have been an automatic assumption.
Yeah, so
considering that between Lewis Burns 60 goals, Benito Lowe 23, 83 goals combined. A hell of a lot of goals, yet still struggling to get into that playoff position.
But yeah,
well, they're still there, but
they are. Yeah, so they weren't helped by losing 1-0 to FC St Helens at the weekend. It was a game where everything happened in the final 5 minutes of the game. I think so. FC St Helens opened the scoring in the 94th minute of the game. I think it was. Just looking back on who scored it. Bear with me 1 second. It was Tom McNamara who scored in the 93rd minute, but then in the 100th minute of the game, Chadderton get a penalty and then miss it. Unbelievable that you just couldn't write it. So Chadderton lost to FC St Helens in a game that they really could have done with winning. It would have secured them promotion, a playoff place regardless of Earlham's result. But as it is, there's still one final game to play to get them over the line.
Which way do you see that going?
I think we'll come to that in the final part of the show.
Do you reckon we should? We'll feature that in the final part of the show.
There you go. But anyway, Rami, we'll go back to Padiham. Padiham then went into the final of the Lancashire Cup final when they played Lancaster City at the stadium in Leyland.
Lancashire FA is a county ground.
Yeah, county ground. That's the one.
It used to be the old Leyland. It used to be right alongside the old Leyland factory.
It did, yeah.
I think it still is. But
it's right by the museum. It's a museum now. Yeah, the Leyland Transport Museum.
Well, I managed to predict that one right. I got Lancaster City just tipping that one, and they did.
I think I did as well, actually. Yeah, on the results. So yeah, it was. Nick Evangelinos, who scored the only goal for Lancaster City after 11 minutes of the game. A good turnout for the cup final as well. Just shy of 900 on the Wednesday night to see the Storks just pipped by their Northern Premier League rivals. Or Lancaster City, are they Northern Prem?
The Northern Prem, yeah.
Yeah, they are. There we go. Okay. So anyway, moving on. Ramsbottom's 3-1 win over West Didsbury and Chorlton on Wednesday night means that they secured the runners-up spot and also a home tie in the semi-finals of the playoffs, which we now know is going to be one of either Chadderton or Earlham, depending on the outcome of this weekend's fixtures. So very well done to Stevie Wilkes and his boys. Hopefully they can make it a couple of steps further than what they did last season. So they were out in the semi-finals against Padiham, if I remember rightly. They lost to Padiham. So Steve Wilkes obviously hoping to go 2 steps further, get to the final, and then win it. But he's set his boys up reasonably well for it. Jacob Holland Wilkinson scoring a double, and Luke Sefton putting the finishing touches on a very fine away performance for Ramy at the Step Places Stadium. Always a tough place to go.
So listen, they've both been there or thereabouts, haven't they? Padiham and Ramsbottom over the last few years.
Yes, they have.
Really, really important for one of them, at least out of them two, to get promoted.
Yeah.
And you worry about the club that doesn't?
I think it...
Do they go again, or is it a rebuild?
I think it is going to be a bit of a rebuild, to be honest, for either of them. They're in a decent catchment area. Ramy obviously having the more sort of favourable environment, being in the immediate vicinity of Bury, as well as places in Oldham too. So I think if the rebuild comes from Ramy, they'll have a bit more of better luck on their hands. But I think for Padiham, they've been there and there before. For 3 years now, it is quite last chance saloon. They did lose a couple of their key men last season, Josh Briggs being the primary one at the start of this season, but they've still continued to go. But I think it is last chance saloon for them now.
So we didn't really expect Wythenshawe, because teams normally that get relegated from the Northern Premier League don't particularly do well when they come back.
No.
Ramsbottom, they sort of vying for the title last season. Padiham and Ramsbottom, you were expecting them to be back in the playoff positions again.
Yeah, you would have
probably expecting one of maybe Ramsbottom to win that. Who did we have down as the winners for that? Can you remember?
God, you're asking the question. I think I might have said Padiham for some reason.
I can't find the paperwork anywhere, so I'm going to have to go back to the original show
episode
and listen to it all over again to find out.
Well, we're not going to do that now. But
anyway. Listen, the one big shock, I suppose, has come in the shape of Atherton LR.
Oh, yes.
We were expecting a season of consolidation, but no.
And
they managed to finish third, regardless of the outcome of the rest of the matches that are yet to be played. They could also finish runners-up if they win their last game and Ramy lose their final 2. If you have a look at
Ramy they've got 1 game left each, and there's 4-point gap.
Right.
So yeah, Ramy have sewn up second, and Atherton have sewn up third. An absolutely stunning season for Davy Jones and his crew.
So he's got the home advantage going into the semi-finals.
Already have the home advantage, likely to be Padiham. We know it's going to be Padiham at this point, so that's one semi-final that we know is going to happen. It'll be Atherton LR against Padiham at Crilly Park. So that'll be a massive game. Obviously, both sides play on grass pitches, so there'll be no change in environment for either of these teams at all. And it'll be a straight shootout over 90 minutes to see who can make it to the final.
Because they managed to beat Litherland Remyca on Saturday 4-0. Quite a flattering scoreline for Atherton LR. Very good performance by Atherton LR by all accounts.
Very much so. So I think there was. I think it didn't help with Remy losing some key personnel early on in the game. I gather Mark Madden was replaced after about 11 minutes of the game. Yeah. So really unfortunate for Remy to be on the back foot so early on. I think LR also scored a couple of goals in injury time. Oh no, they didn't. Sorry, it was 2 in 60 seconds, which really hit them where it hurts. Harvey Sample and Tom Romano both grabbing a double there, and those goals I think do have confirmed that Tom Romano has reached the 30 goal mark for this season, exactly the same as what he did last season. He scored 13 back-to-back seasons, so very well done to him, and a very professional performance by an Atherton LR side who I think will actually be in the playoffs for the next few seasons, provided that they can keep this squad together. But make no mistake, this squad is going to be in demand from teams up above them, I think.
Sorry for the confusion before. Ramsbottom did play on Wednesday, so that obviously didn't update my details there, but they obviously beat West Disbury and Chorlton in their game in hand. So yeah, that does give a 4 point.
An unassailable 4 points.
Yeah. So they finished second, and Atherton have finished third.
Yeah.
Only difference could be Padiham. Chadderton could still overtake Padiham. So it still could be Atherton, Chadderton, or
pardon me.
If you're the manager of Atherton LR, if you're Davy Jones now, obviously you're in the playoff semi-final. Who do you want out of them two teams? Do you want the high scoring Chadderton?
Or do you want the slightly less high scoring but slightly meaner
less?
defence?
Have you seen it though?
But the
101 goals.
Yeah, but the slightly meaner defensive Padiham.
Yeah.
If I'm Davy Jones, I probably want Padiham. I think I do. Because if you look at the statistics that we've got for the top goal scorers in the division, it's stunning that Padiham have scored 101 goals in here. Because if you look through there, they only come around, the Padiham goal scorers only really come about towards the bottom end of the statistics themselves.
Yeah.
So Jack Price is Padiham's top goal scorer, and he scored 15 in the league, 2 in the cup. Fenton Davis is next on. He's also scored 15, but only 2 of them have been for Padiham. The other 13 were while he was playing for Charnock Richard.
So the goals have been spread around a bit.
The goals have been substantially spread around across all markers of.
That's good, really, going into the playoff final, surely, because if you've got that ability to score goals from all areas, if if you've got a centre forward that's banging goals away and has a bad day, it wouldn't be the case for Padiham, would it?
No.
It score goals from all areas.
Well, it would score goals from all areas. There, I'm just looking to see who they're. Where on earth all of these goals have come from? Because they've got 100, but there's 17 goals between their top 2 goal scorers. That's bonkers. That if it's me, I'm wanting Padiham. Although they've been there before, I think that Chadderton just have that trump card in Burn and Low. Yeah.
So, listen, shocks. What's shocked you and what hasn't shocked you over the course of the season? I know we've still got one game to go.
Yeah.
I expected Burscough to do a lot better than they did.
Did you?
That didn't happen. I thought FC St Helens would do a little bit better than they actually did. Prestwich Hayes have surprised me because I thought they've still got 2-3 games left, have they? Is that right?
So Prestwich Hayes have got 2 games left in this season.
Oh, right, it's just 3 on this.
Pardon me. No, it's 2014. Yeah, no, you're right. 3 games. Yeah. So Prestwich Hayes at the minute 76.
They still can't finish in the playoffs anyway. But
no, they can't. So it is still a straight shootout between Chadderton and Earlham. But
they've not been as consistent as these teams higher up the table.
No, they haven't.
Padiham and Chadderton, Earlham, Prestwich Hayes, they've all been inconsistent. The only consistent teams up in that. The top 3, and quite naturally they're in the top 3 for the reason.
Well, I don't even know about that because Atherton have lost 12 games, and they had that.
Yeah, but I'm talking about consistency. They had that 20-match unbeaten record coming into the final stretch, which makes a big difference. There was enough consistency there to keep them in that top. Listen, they're in the top 3. They qualified. Yeah,
they have. To be fair. So yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe there's been some decent consistency about them. It's really bad, but I honestly thought there'd be more consistency from the teams that we are used to seeing around there. So I would have thought West Didsbury and Chorlton would have done miles better than what they had done. I understand that.
I might have had them down as champions, I don't know.
I don't know if I had them down as champions. I almost certainly had them down as vying for the playoffs. But I certainly didn't have Atherton LR down for the playoffs. But they've done so well this season. It'll be...
The gate was considerably down, though, wasn't it? The gate against Ramsbottom, 242. Is that an all-time low for them this season?
I don't know about an all-time low. It may very well be, but it's certainly not sort of reflective of the crowds of 600 to 800 that we are used to seeing. And I think it's, again, because that season tail off, they've not really... In terms of the league, they haven't got anything to play for at the minute, but it's ridiculous because they're in the Macron Cup final, so you would have thought that they'd still have a bit of a following. Yeah. So that's kind of sad in itself. But anyway,
AFC Liverpool probably be the most sort of rejuvenated team in that sort of bottom.
Yeah, very much so. So
they look like relegation fodder at one stage.
They did. They were about 19th or 20th at one point. But
as did Glossop North End, by the way, until Richard Brodie was sacked.
Yeah, and we don't like speaking ill of
Richard. But a great deal didn't change, did it, really? It was the assistant manager stepped up as manager. The players...
Largely they were the same. Yeah, I think there was one or two that they brought in, but that was it.
Which you would do anyway through the course of the season, whoever's there.
I think the biggest shock for me, though, and you may have called it at the beginning of the season, depending on how their situation turned out, but I don't think any of us could really have predicted just how badly City of Liverpool's season had gone for them. Yes, they were relegated, and obviously, as we know, teams struggle to bounce back up at the first time of asking, but it's back-to-back relegations.
I think it was the financial aspect of City of Liverpool that nobody can quite get to grips with. So when the ground share was announced with Burscough, and obviously we'd moved on to Marine, you're thinking, well, we know what we were paying at Burscough. If they can afford to pay that at Burscough themselves, then they've still got money. They've still got the ability to continue, first and foremost.
Yeah.
We didn't know much about the budget.
No, we gather that obviously that there was one, but even through Richard Brodie's tenure at City of Liverpool, we didn't really see any kind of financial flexion, did we? And in fact, their squad has been so inconsistent.
Well, I think they got down to one particular game not so long ago. Was it last? It might have even been the last game that they played. They only had one
substitute on
the bench.
Yeah, they did. And there's been a handful of players that have got sort of 20 odd appearances there.
I think if you look through the vast majority of them players, very, very few have got any experience at that level. Mm-hmm. They have Northwest Counties division below.
Yeah,
a lot of them not particularly.
A lot of them don't.
No.
I know that's deeply disappointing.
So not a great shock, but probably the gravity of the relegation, the 184 goals conceded.
Oh yeah.
Minus 146 goals. That in itself was a surprise.
Yeah, that was a surprise. Just getting beaten for one.
I'm surprised they got 20 points. To be fair.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that there was a point during Brodie's tenure when
you felt as though things could change. The defeats were getting shorter.
Yeah, like the margin of error was lots shorter. They drew with Cheadle Town. They drew with Exton Villa. So there were elements to this where we thought things might start to turn out all right for them, but really they've not won a game since.
Listen, September. A lot of it is to do with what's going on behind the scenes, and listen, everybody's hoping. You don't want a football club to fall by the wayside. You don't want them to go out of business, and sometimes it calls for a little bit more honesty. And people probably say I'm fine one to speak, but I think I've been as honest as I can about Scam United's current plight. I think everybody knows we're playing away from home because we failed the FIFA bounce test and we couldn't get back to the JMO. As simple as that. We ground shared at Burscough, then moved on to Marine. We're back at Burscough for the beginning of the next season, which should make things a lot better for us. We're working very close with serious organisations now to get us back into SCEM. So we're trying to go in the right direction. There just didn't seem to be any direction with the City of Liverpool. I know they had ambitions. They had a piece of land in mind in Liverpool it didn't quite work out. And I suppose that might be the straw that broke the camel's back. I don't know. You can't consistently play away from home as they've done since they came into formation.
Yeah.
Very well supported at the beginning.
At the beginning, yeah, they had
benefactors as well, put money into the football club, but you become disillusioned the longer
the success isn't there.
Well, there was success, wasn't there? If you look back, it's only 3 seasons ago, isn't it? When they was it 3 seasons ago when they played Prescot in the finals?
Yeah, for the Northern Premier.
No, well, they would have been
going into the Northern Premier. That's amazing.
Yeah, the drop has been.
Well, they must have been relegated the following season.
Yeah, they were relegated the following season.
That was during the first major exodus, wasn't it? That's when we saw players like Elliot Morris, Kenny Strickland.
Listen, it was quite obvious there was no money left in the bank, and nobody else was going to put any money there. No. I think the biggest question is what could have been done. I mean, there was talks of a takeover by a group of supporters. Because it is supposed to be a supporter-run football club, isn't it?
Yes.
But I don't think it's been run like that recently.
No, I don't think it's been run by that at all, to be honest. I think it's just a very wretched organisation at the minute, unfortunately. Yeah. And I
don't like to talk out of chairman because I'm a chairman myself, but I think a bit more honesty there, a bit more clarity at the beginning of the season. There was an opportunity there to bring a group of people in. People will turn around and say the same thing's happened for Skem.
But at least we've come out and talked about it.
With Claybrow, yeah, but we've got our reasons for doing that. But we're not in that situation that City of Liverpool are finding themselves in right now. No,
and then it was reflective on Saturday. So they lost 10-0. At home to Glossop North End. Ethan Sutcliffe helping himself to four of them, by the way. 78 turned out for that game, but I wonder how many of them actually stuck around, and for how long during that first half. I mean, they were 6-0 down after half an hour.
Were you saying there was 6? I was expecting it to go way above the 10, so they had a relatively good second half.
Well, they had a very relatively quiet second half, to be honest. Just 3 goals scored in that second half for the North End.
4.
3.
6 in the first half.
6 after half an hour.
Oh, was it after half an hour? Was it?
Yes,
so was it 7 at half 10?
It was.
Was it?
Yes.
Crikey.
Bananas.
I know. Doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah, but it just surmises a very wretched and desperately sad season for City of Liverpool, and once again, you sort of struggle to wonder where on earth they go from here.
Well, listen, let's look at the possible replacements. So, Division 1 North, Nelson finally secured the title on Saturday with a 5-0 win over Ashton Athletic, which puts Ashton Athletic in that position where they confirmed in the bottom 3.
They were confirmed into the bottom 3. They have technically been confirmed as being relegated. Obviously, that doesn't mean anything.
News has it there's going to be an awful lot of reprieves
and movements around. Yeah, so we'll come to that in the in the latter end of the show. I think during the controversial corner. But yeah, Nelson finally got over the line. There were signs of Aaron Ripley's side wobbling. I think largely due to the amount of games they had to make up in a very short space of time. We talked about them playing 3 games in the week and how on earth that was going to be manageable, but they found the final stretch and an extra gear in that final stretch. 6 wins and 2 draws in their last 8 matches, as well as a wobble by Droylsden, seeing them over the line with a couple of games to spare. So they won it against Ashton Athletic, and they celebrated it again with a 4-1 win over Garstang on the Wednesday night. A 4-1 win. Max Kane in amongst the goal scorers for the Admirals there. I think on the whole fully deserving of being champions there. I think the real turning point was when Ripley came back to the club and built up a squad that was capable of challenging. But again,
it took a lot of balls to go back after the way he was.
Yeah, I don't know if I would. I don't know if I would have done what he did. But fair play to him for doing what he did. I think that takes some guts, but also the way he's navigated that team, and just done unbelievably well with a squad that's actually quite small by all regards. There's a lot of players here that have played 40 games plus. Darren Holden is on 49. Billy
isn't
Priest.
that the secret of success for a football club? Consistency, smaller squad.
Yeah, but it leaves you open to injuries, which can be a real downfall. But players like Billy Priestley, Will Ludlow Foster, Darren Holden has already been mentioned, Jamie Edwards, Max Kane, Lewis Brown, and then Luke Heppel, who I think was an inspired signing when he came over at the beginning of the season, and his 21 goals as well as Kane's 23 propelling the Admirals into the Northern Premier League. Into the Northwest Counties Premier Division for the season. I need some sleep. But anyway, very well done to Nelson. Huge congratulations to them.
Well done to Aaron. Nelson confirmed. So Droylsden definitely in the playoffs as well.
Yeah.
They're on 65 points, and the only bone of contention now is going into the final game is between Darwin and Squires Gate, really. Possibly,
you could drag McGull into there, but it would take a lot there.
Got a different swing, it would take a bit.
Yeah, it would be a 3 or 4 goal swing that would take Darwin into the playoffs, but they had to rely on Squires Gate and McGull losing by those amounts to have any chance of getting into the playoffs themselves. So
Who surprised us?
MSB Woolton are in the playoffs in their first season.
Amazing.
That is absolutely stunning. Fair play.
I wasn't expecting McGull or Squires Gate to be up there.
I was expecting McGull, wasn't expecting Squires Gate though. And we talk about bounce back, but Squires Gate and Cone, the contrasts between those two football clubs and their fortunes, it's talking a lot here that Squires Gate are still contesting for a playoff place, particularly as well when in the early part of the season they were really struggling to find their form, but they've somehow, with a game to spare, got themselves back in contention. But all the plaudits to Colin Woodrow and his team at MSB Woolton. What a job they have done there.
Listen, not to discount Bake Up Butter, by the way, because they have a possibility, don't they? But it's a very, very slim possibility. The goal swing would have to be incredible.
And relying on Darwin and Squires Gate.
So if both of them lose, Bake Up win.
And win by a bit.
There's still a possibility there. But we'll talk about that in the final part of the show. Not looking particularly good for all three teams now. Confirmed as relegated, but like we say...
they're not technically relegated.
Ashton Athletic, Garstang and Main Road at the bottom. Moving back to Droylsden, they won the Manchester Cup on Wednesday night, beating Cares in Ashton 2-1 in front of a crowd of 953.
Yes, they did that at Broadfield Park, the home of FC United of Manchester, as that argument about ground placement for the final games of the season continues to rumble on. But very, very well done to Droylsden, beating higher league opposition there to secure the Manchester Cup. They will hope to follow that up by securing promotion from the playoffs and into the Northwest Counties Premier Division, and they look in hot form to do it.
I don't know whether you mentioned it on last week's show, but the very fact that and we'll come to it in controversial corner again, the issue over the neutral venue for the game between FC United and Stockton, yet they managed to play the Manchester Cup final at Broadhurst Park.
Yes, they have.
Doesn't make any sense. Though.
No, it doesn't make any sense.
I think you mentioned it last week.
I certainly did, yeah. I was telling FC United and Manchester fans to stop whining, but then when I realised that there was actually a fixture being played the Wednesday before, now I'm fully on the side of FC United.
A little bit more complex than that. We'll mention it in later on in the show. But in terms of, I think Stockton had the right to call for a neutral venue because the game had been called off so many times.
Meh.
But anyway,
we'll come to that later.
We'll come to that later.
Anyway,
we'll move on to Division 1 South.
Yeah, absolutely. So, friend of the show and former guest Dan Dawson has stepped down as manager of Market Drayton Town. It has been a very disappointing season for him by his standards, and it's deeply unfortunate that his Market Drayton Town team have been confirmed as finishing second from bottom of the table. We're not sure whether that means they'll be relegated into the provincial leagues. We know that Wolf Sporting Communities withdrawal does set a few complications there amongst Division 1 South, but all of that is to come during June. Dan, very ambitious.
The other thing I'd say about that is, if you look at it now, there's 3 relegation spots in the north, and there would have been 3 in the south,
with an extra team as well in the south.
Had Wolves been there, so the relegation spots are as they would be, whether they be confirmed in May, June, end of May, June, whatever. There's going to be reprieves. We know that.
Yeah, of course, there'll be reprieves. There'll be lateral movements, we should imagine as well, and then looking at the applicants for teams that are applying to come up from Step 7. There's so many different ramifications and possibilities. But moving back to Dan, we obviously wish him well in the future and hope he gets back to football very, very soon.
Yeah, pretty sure he will. He's got ambitions.
Yeah, he absolutely does. Yeah, Eccleshall confirmed as runners-up last week. They beat Telford Town 2-0 over the weekend. They made it to the Staffordshire Senior Cup final, but unfortunately they fell to Rushall Olympic by 3 goals to 2. I think they'd done really well to actually get back into contention. They had been 2-0 down at one point before staging a really decent comeback through Dan Glover and Jack Hassel, putting them back on level terms. But then with 10 minutes remaining, Nick Clayton Phillips grabbing what proved to be the winning goal for Rushall Olympic. 680 fans turned out to see that one. But commiserations, but congratulations to Liam Kelly and his Eccleshall boys all the same. A magnificent achievement over what has been a really decent season for them. I know how stretched they have been with injuries as well. Liam's made no secret of that. So to give Rushall Olympic a good game in the final, he's got to be nothing but proud of his boys there.
Yeah, well done, Liam.
Well done, Liam, indeed. So we'll move swiftly on around the northwest. So Prescot Cables lost 1-0 at the weekend to Leek Town. 4 points adrift of safety, 2 games remaining, and facing playoff contenders Gainsborough Trinity away this Saturday. Things are not looking promising. They're just that extra step too far away from saving themselves through one game. At this point, it does mean back-to-back results are going to be needed to see them out of the playoff, the relegation spots, unfortunately. Yeah.
Well, we had rumblings the season before last when they cut the budget, and of course they've done it again this season. They've lost key players, including the goalkeeper.
Yes, they have.
They've lost a lot of important players.
Mm-hmm.
It's not so much a surprise when you realise that it's down to finances.
It is down to finances. Yeah, we always talk about how much money plays a part in how a squad at this level and how well a team can do. But it's sort of shown the opposite way as well. You take away the money, and then the players sort of fall on as a bit of a domino effect, and then all of a sudden you're left with an enormous fight on your hands. And Steve Daly has had an enormous fight on his hands for the better part of this season, and I think he deserves credit for getting as far as what he has done. But with 2 games remaining and 4 points adrift, I think this is starting to look a little bit more inevitable.
Yeah, I think so. Unfortunately, I just hope that they can find a way out of it, but it doesn't look as though they're going to.
No, it just doesn't. It doesn't look like they're going to. As you say, they've got Gainsborough Trinity on Saturday, and then that's followed by
top 7, are they?
They are in.
I think the playoffs.
I think they're around about the playoffs, and then Bamber Bridge, mid-table team, very solid. Go to Prescot on the final day of the season. Startlingly enough, no team from the Northern Premier League Premier has technically been relegated yet. Stockbridge Park Steels are bottom, 5 points adrift with 2 games remaining. So between them and Prescot, they could technically still find their way out of danger, but you seem to think that it's a bit of a foregone conclusion.
So the team that looks likely to replace Prescot Cables could be Bury. So they remain top of the table with a 2-point lead. They beat Nantwich Town 1-0 at the weekend.
Yes.
They play Whitton Albion this weekend. If they win and Avro lose away at Nantwich, the title would be decided at home. With that in mind, over 5,000 tickets. You maybe get a better
Figure?
Figure now, yeah. I think it was 5,300 the last time I looked. So 5,300 tickets have already been sold at Gigg Lane. An incredible turnout. Nowhere near what they had last season. I think that was around about 9,000.
So as of 3 hours ago, 5,688 tickets have been sold for Saturday's game against Whitton Albion. The South Stand has been completely sold out. The main stand has got less than 500 seats remaining. So an amazing, what's going to be an amazing turnout for the Shakers in their final home game of the season, when they will hope to be wrapping up the Northern Premier League West title. While they do it, you can still buy tickets at buryfc.co.uk/tickets. But yeah, absolutely amazing turnout. What has been a really good season for Bury, particularly in the midst of the season. We didn't know if they would be considered playoff contenders or indeed title contenders. At that point, we were just wondering whether they'd finish in the middle as lower.
And they're on the third manager as well. And
they are indeed on their third manager of the season. So it's amazing what some changes in personnel will do. They brought in a few players as well, one of whom was Jordan Lazenbury, who was off the mark, not against Nantwich, but in the previous game against Congleton. He was off the mark in that game. So just shows you that personnel really does help. Now then,
how difficult? Sorry, I was just going to say, how difficult does it get for them moving up a level?
I think now is where we start to believe that Bury aren't automatically going to take the league title. I think now that they're in Northern Premier, there's some big established teams in there that are not only going to make life really difficult for them, but you've also got to look at the teams that aren't going to go up this season that can sort of.
John was used to it though, isn't he? Playing at that high level, managing at that high level.
Players aren't though, and the budget.
But he'll know what is required. That's what I'm saying.
I think he's going to know what's required, but just because
slow process.
Well, just because he's managed in a division above what they're playing in, it doesn't necessarily mean that he knows what's expected.
But he'll know what standard of players he needs. He'll know automatically now whether he's got the right kind of players there.
I would think that there's still going to be a bit of a turnover in personnel. There was about 6 or 7 that left at the beginning of this season from Bury's counties winning side, and then we've seen players kind of leave and fade away from the club as
you always say an ambitious football club tends to look at players that are a level or two above where they are.
This is true. And I think for Bury, having the name there means that they've automatically got a bit more pull than other teams who are maybe considered more heavyweights within the Northern Premier.
I think they need to be getting regular gates of over 5,000, don't they? In order to increase their budgets to that level where they can be planning 2 seasons ahead.
Yeah, I don't know about 5. I think you could probably. I think with the amount of natural revenue they've got from sponsorship and commercial, you could probably get away with about 3.
Yeah, but there's a cost, isn't there? I mean, it's not cheap to run Gigg Lane. It costs an awful lot of money, the upkeep of it. We know it's a plastic pitch now, so we know they're making money out of that as well.
They certainly are making
so they're always going in the right direction. We do know commercially Chris Watts is doing a fabulous job.
He's doing an amazing job. They're just continuously sourcing revenue from various areas and tapping into the local markets. Amazing job. Fair play to him.
So let's hope they don't blow it.
I don't think they'll blow it. I just don't think that they'll be automatically considered playoff expectors or contenders for next season.
No. Talking about a contender, Runcorn Linnets, of course.
Runcorn Linnets, absolutely. So they secured their place in the playoffs following a 3-1 win over Kidsgrove Athletic. They followed that up by beating town neighbours Runcorn Town 3-1 in the semi-final of the Liverpool Senior Cup, and they will face Everton in the final. So Everton, the current holders of the Liverpool Senior Cup, they beat Lower Breck in the competition last season. Runcorn Linnets obviously represent a slightly trickier obstacle for them, but you'd be more inclined to back Everton at this point, in winning the thing. But I should imagine that Linnets will give them the
get to a final at the end of the season is great.
Well, if you can not only a final but the playoffs as well. It's been a brilliant season for the Linnets.
Yeah, well, it is. It is if you can win the playoffs, and that's the difficult part.
It is the difficult part, of course it is.
Because it's a lottery now, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a bit more of a lottery. So Linnets are in 4th at the minute, so that would give them an away leg in the semi-final. It looks all the more likely that they will be playing Stalybridge Celtic. Staley Celtic, who's 15 games.
Well, they play them on Saturday, don't they?
Well, yeah, they play them on Saturday in what could very well be a bit of a dress rehearsal into what the what the semi-final continues to be like. But it's all about who
gets the home advantage.
Who gets the home advantage? Absolutely. So at the minute it's Staley Celtic, but anything could happen during these last 2 games of the season. So as we said, the Linnets hosting Staley Celtic before taking a visit down to Newcastle Town to play the final game of the season. The Linnets, they could move. It's still plenty to play for the Linnets, both on the league and the cup front.
Yeah, good luck to Peter.
And good luck to Peter, who we had on the show week before last. You can still check out that episode. Now then, Marines manager Bobby Grant has signed a 2-year extension, keeping him at the club until 2028. This follows an epic 3-2 win at Darlington, so there's your reward, Bobby. 2 more years at the Marine Travel Arena. Unfortunately, they lost 3-1 to Merthyr Town on Tuesday, which must have left the Learys wondering if they'd offered him the paper at the right time. No,
that's a bit nasty then.
Of course not. It doesn't mean that at all. Bobby Grant, very well worth the contract that he was that he signed. So Marine face Alfreton Town at the weekend, and a difficult fixture away at Hereford on Tuesday night.
Yeah, so we move on to Southport. They lost 2-1 at the weekend to Leamington. A disappointing result, given that they are propping up the rest of the National League North.
Leamington, difficult result that for Neil Dans and his side. Doesn't get any easier for them either.
No.
Matches against league leaders AFC Fyle this weekend, and that's followed up by the big boys Macclesfield on Tuesday night. So Neil Dans, without a question of a doubt, guided his Southport side into safer harbours, but they're having to ride out some choppy waves at this point in the season. Yeah,
listen, either way, it's been a remarkable season for both Marine and Southport, getting, of course, to the semi-finals of the FA Trophy.
Yeah.
So they'll remember that for a long time.
They certainly will. We hope so. Hope that is very much a springboard for Southport to start moving on to bigger and better things. Maybe looking at the playoffs next season as a realistic proposition. I know that there's some big teams in the National League North that are being left behind and out of the playoffs. Chorley being one of them. Radcliffe, who we thought were going to be in there at one point or another. Buxton, Darlington.
Where are Radcliffe now?
Radcliffe are 14th, so they're actually lower than Southport and Marine.
Oh, I wonder whether there's a chance that he might end up joining his mate,
Morley.
Jono. Yeah, Morley.
Well, you never know.
I doubt it now, to be fair. But
I'm going to say, he sort of quite made it clear that he wanted to stay, when the initial news came through.
That's going to change it. Listen, anyway, moving on to a story I've been really, really looking forward to talking about, and that's Clitheroe. So we're killing two birds with one stone here, because we normally talk about Bootle as well. So listen, we had the pleasure of visiting Shawbridge for Clitheroe's game against Bootle on Saturday. Bootle won 2-0, which was probably more one-sided due to Clitheroe's midfielder and chairman. I didn't realise at the time, but Danny Wilkins being sent off in the 37th minute following an altercation with the referee. And I had to, when you've gone through a game and you think to yourself, until you read it back, you don't remember it happened. So Wilkins has pushed the referee, if you remember. And what I assumed at the time was that he was trying to demonstrate to the referee what had happened to one of his players, but it didn't quite work out the way he planned, so he got a red card and he was sent off.
Yeah, that put Clitheroe very much on the back foot for the rest of the game, really. They had some chances across the remainder of the first half and the second half. They hit the inside of the post in the second half, but ultimately that red card was what cost them the game, I think.
So Bootle scored on the... I think Bootle, for me, they looked the slightly better team. It would have been...
Yeah, they did.
It would have been interesting to see how it panned out if it was 11 versus 11. I think Bootle would have still won it, but they managed to get that goal before half-time, which is the most crucial thing. And then they've really sort of... coasted it, got the second goal, and then possibly Clitheroe a bit more relaxed. Then it played a little bit better, would you say?
Yeah, I think once the pressure was off, they started to kind of come out of their shell a little bit more. They tested the goalkeeper on at least 2 occasions in the second half. The players were a bit more full of running, if you like. It was a difficult game on the whole for Sean McConville's.
The contrast was that Bootle obviously still waiting, trying to get into a playoff position. I don't know whether they've still got the opportunity.
They're still, let's have a look. So they were still in the fight last time I checked.
Yeah, so it was an interesting one, really, because Clitheroe not really much to fight for. They've had a relatively unremarkable season, other than for the FA Trophy run. They beat York City at home, and then they were narrowly beaten by Scunthorpe away from home. So from that perspective, they've made a few bob, you'd like to think.
Yeah, they'll have made a few quid on that cup run, which I'm sure will serve them well for next season. Bootle do still have an outside shout at the playoffs, but it will go down to the final game, and they are relying on Lower Breck and Vauxhall Motors dropping points. Now, Vauxhall haven't won in their last 3 games, so that might be the bridge that they can cross. However, to see Lower Breck falter might be a bridge too far for them, but still all to play for, and to finish with a flourish.
So who have Bootle got and who have Lower Breck got?
Okay, so Bootle, begin with them. So Bootle go to already relegated Trafford on Saturday, and they follow that up by hosting Mossley, final game of the season. 2 very winnable games for Bootle. As for Lower Breck, Lower Breck's, again, they've got a slightly favourable run as well. So they host Newcastle Town on Saturday the 18th before visiting Shivnal Town, who I believe... Are they already relegated as well, or are they... No, sorry, Shivnal Town. Got my teams mixed up there, pardon me. Shivnal Town, 13th place in the league. And then, as I say, Newcastle are 15th. So... not easy games, but favourable for Breck. Okay, so you could see them navigating through those 2 games and securing the final playoff place.
So listen, what did you make of your time at Shawbridge?
Well, this was my very first game at Northern Premier League level. I'd never been outside of counties before, unless you sort of count the Premier League Championship League 1, League 2, of course. But as far as non-league goes, like, this was my first outing into the Northern Premier League. I really enjoyed it. I was always looking forward to it. Clitheroe, I feel like you've always got a team who you know you would support outside of Skem. I think you and I both have that. And I think Clitheroe would be my team. Yeah.
Well, I did build it up a little bit, didn't I? Because of my past experiences at Clitheroe. I did say to you, listen, you really are going to love this experience. But then you don't know until you get there whether your sort of ideal of non-league football is going to match mine. And it did very much so.
Oh, we really did,
We sat down in the clubhouse, didn't we? And we had a pint of zero.
We had a pint of zero Copperberg.
Copperberg, yeah, it was very, very nice.
Clitheroe's own pint cups.
With
the badge on.
They might have one less.
They do have one less. I have. So if anyone on the Clitheroe...
it accidentally fell down your gob.
Yes, it did, and it's now at
regurgitated.
Home. It's now at home, and I drink everything out of it now because I'm just really pleased with it. But I did buy a pin badge and some chips, so do you know what? You've had your money's worth from me.
So what did you make of the setting first and foremost?
Do you know what? I was quite stunned by it. So I love that the picture's got a little bit of a slant on one side.
A bit of a slant?
Just a little bit of a slant, absolutely. A slant like a raised eyebrow is a slant.
It's a bit of a slant if you've got a slightly wonky eye.
Or if you're walking sideways.
Yeah, you are.
I say, if you don't take your tramadol and start walling, then it's going to be flat. But what surprised me the most was actually how much of the ground they'd been able to cover through not just brickwork, but through... what would you call them? Those big... I don't want to call them sheds.
Containers.
Containers. The amount of containers.
Shipping containers
they were using in order to secure the ground, but also serve out food and beer and the club. So the refreshment stand was a container. The smaller beer bar on the far side of the stadium was a shipping container. And I'm pretty sure the club shop was also a shipping container as well. So the amount of shipping containers that Clitheroe had used in order to secure Shawbridge, make it a bit more enclosed, was absolutely magnificent. It was perfectly exemplary of non-league football that was how that they were going. But I loved it. And
we were expecting a slightly bigger crowd. So for context, there was 457 that actually watched the game. We thought it was a little bit less. Got speaking to one of the spectators. He said he'd be lucky if it's over 300, I think he said, didn't he? It was 457. Noticeably down from the previous week against Bury when they hosted 2,375 supporters. Obviously a special occasion with Bury coming down.
Of course.
Their average attendance has been around about 750.
Yes, so they've been getting decent crowds.
They've had two crowds now of 2,300 plus. So they have the York game, which was slightly less than the Bury. So they've had over 5,000 people watching those two games.
Amazing, that.
That's brilliant, which brings that average up a little bit. So I think the probably realistic average is around about the 600 mark.
I think it probably is.
My worry is that when you come to the end of a season, irrespective, I know they've got one more home game, haven't they? Listen, I'm fizzing a paracetamol here. Can you hear it? Can you?
Yes.
Is it doing your head in?
Yes.
All right. Sorry about that.
God damn it.
I can hear it even louder through my headphones. So I mean, my worry is, and I know they've got one more home game yet.
No, I think they've played their final.
I thought they had a final home game. What I would say is, I'm really disappointed that when it comes to the end of the season, when players have given as much effort, and it's not particularly worked out the way they wanted it, they probably expected to finish in the top 5. They have got one game
at home.
Who did they play?
Kidsgrove.
Kidsgrove at home. So there's a possibility there that they'll get a nice good send-off from the majority of supporters that have supported them. Now, what I look at is, and it's quintessential non-league football, isn't it? When you go to a ground in the middle of the Ribble Valley, you can see all the hills in the background.
And the church.
Well, you can see the castle, albeit
that's the
veiled at the moment because it's undergoing reconstruction work or whatever it is. So you couldn't see the castle itself.
Yeah.
But what you come to then is you walk into a ground that's it's in the middle of a housing conurbation. That's the best way to describe it. So it's got houses wrapped right round it.
Yes, it does.
It's got a very, very small car park.
Yeah.
You go in there, it's almost like a hidden treat, really, isn't it? Going in there. It is,
and
then it becomes a mishmash of everything then, doesn't it?
It is. It's probably chaotic.
It's 100 and odd years of work, still in progress, so everything's put together. Nothing is equal.
It's quite tight as well.
It's quite tight. Imagine 2,000 plus people in there.
Oh god, that would be a squash. I mean, I know that they've got 2 kind of bars, on tap that you can go to, and then they've got a smaller bar / shipping container down towards where the away end was. So they've got facilities there. It's just the natural room for what you have, like a concourse kind of style. You just don't have that there. Everything's quite squeezed in, quite tight. So I think we were quite fortunate that we went on a slightly lower than average crowd day where we could just mill around and not really, we could go to places and spaces where we weren't going to be bothered by anybody.
And we had all 4 seasons in one minute?
Yes.
Almost.
We did, yeah. So it started with the snow, and then the hail came, and then the sun came out, and then it just got really dark.
It was cold, wasn't it?
It was really cold as well. And this was before kickoff as well. So
which you would expect in the middle of...
In middle of the Ribble Valley.
Yeah,
it's exposure like no other, really.
So what I'm trying to come to here is as quintessential as it is, and as that it conjures up with all that romantic essence of non-league football, doesn't it? It makes... It's the thing that titillates you most about non-league football. It makes you want to go and watch non-league football.
God, yeah, it does.
But equally, then you look at the crumbling state of the ground.
Yeah.
And then you wonder about moving that step up. So you've got terraces that are crumbling, and I know there's an awful lot of hard work goes into maintaining that ground. But moving up that level becomes a level tougher, but also then you've got to improve your facilities as well. And I just wonder at which stage where the balance is going to be between, and we know that there's not a great deal of money there because last season they had to reduce the budget themselves, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, Carl Garner came on and made a very kind of open confession that Clitheroe's time as a financial entity was in danger. I think we gathered that since been restored a little bit. They've got some financial parity, but they're not lavishly spending whatsoever. They can't afford to.
No. So I mean, really, realistically speaking,
have they reached their level?
But equally, I think it's probably just as well they're not vying for promotions at this moment in time. Right, although people like Sean McConville, who obviously is very, very ambitious, will disagree. That's what he would want at bare minimum, playoffs this season. I think he'll be extremely disappointed.
I think it's
started much better than...
it's been a difficult season for Sean. It's his first sort of foray into footballing management, really, and I wonder whether he's found it an awful lot more difficult than he perhaps realised. He's had to deal with quite a bit of injuries through the squad. He's had to deal with sort of changes in personnel as well. He's been quite insightful in bringing a lot of players up from counties level, and whether they've made the grade, in the way that he would have hoped. One started and he was full of running for a lot of the game, but was he the kind of player who's good for that level? One came off the bench, and he'd had a really injury hit season, and one didn't make the squad at all. So I think
the thing with Sean McConville is he's come from Northern Premier League West, or North as it was at the time, and he's got his move from Skem United Football Club all the way up to Accrington Stanley.
Yes, he has.
So he's got an affinity with grassroots football, and certainly he will know a gem or two, because he'll look at his own career and how it panned out, and know that there are players that you can bring up to play in the higher level and do a good job. But we keep saying about finances dictate everything.
Yes, they do.
Were you surprised? First of all, did you know it was the chairman that got sent?
No, I didn't.
I didn't realise until I read it somewhere that it was what's the chairman going to? How is he going to discipline himself? But then shortly after the game, Sean McConville, visibly unhappy with the referee himself, ended up getting a yellow card.
He did. Well, I think that was the end of a melee, wasn't there, that occurred
No, the
over on the
melee
far side
happened
of the
after
pitch?
it, didn't he? While he was remonstrating with the
Yeah.
referee, and then they all walked over to that area, and there was
By
a
the
big...
touchline.
I don't know what was going on there.
They were
but
queuing for the last of the cheese and onion pies, clearly.
Well, yeah, because he walked around, didn't he? He
Yeah.
offered us discounted rate of £2,
Yeah,
was it?
£2 for a
What
cheese.
do they normally cost?
$3.30
All right.
ish.
The thing is, he'd done obviously almost a full lap of the ground there. I mean, everybody was coughing and spluttering. That's a danger pie, in my opinion. You know what I mean? I would never have bought that pie.
Would you not?
You have to be a real big pie eater, don't you, to say, oh yeah, I'll take me risks here.
Yeah, I think it was just because they were just wanting to...
It'd have been freezing cold by the time he'd walked that way.
I'm going to say, yeah, it would have done.
But you could be right, because he was walking back in that direction. There could have been a pie then for them last 2 weeks.
Pie in for Piegate.
Cheese onion pies.
I still have no idea what generated that full melee, because it was all the players and all the coaching and management staff as well. Everybody was involved in that. I've no idea what happened.
Listen, if nobody's been hurt, then nothing more will be said about it. It depends on whether the referees made a report. We don't know about that, but we've seen similar incidents during the season with Avro and Kidsgrove, where it developed into something really, really bad.
Yeah.
And of course, things like that have to be reported, regardless of whether the handbags are done or not, because you've got to make sure that there's. I mean, I didn't see any stewards on hand there. Did you?
No, I saw sort of two tucked away.
But what can they do in the crowd like that?
Oh God,
Two stewards. My heart sort of goes out to the football club, because if they end up with a hefty fine and disciplinary proceedings, it's... I don't know who started it.
No, me neither.
I don't think it really matters, because regardless of who started, then somebody starts fighting back, then they're both as bad as each other, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Unless you're defending yourself, which is another thing altogether. Yeah, but listen, I was surprised anyway with Danny Wilkins, but how can he how can he sort of criticise Sean McConville? Because Sean McConville's disciplinary record can't be great either, can he? He's a very passionate guy.
He is a very passionate guy, yeah, so we're always going to hear from him, on anything that's even slightly contentious.
You're not going to take that out of his game, are you?
Nah, of course you're not.
The only thing that'll take that out of his game is time.
Maturity, yeah.
I think it happened with Tommy Lawson, really. Tommy as a younger manager was, admittedly an angry manager, but he realised...
Was he?
Yeah, I think he was. I mean, in my first stint when he was manager under me, he was quite an angry man. Second one, less so. Although he got a 3-match stadium ban.
He did, for implying racism. Yeah.
Yeah. But
yeah,
what I'm saying is that I think with age comes a little bit more wisdom, and you steer away from the more controversial things, and certainly remonstrating with referees, because I think you said it at one stage. There was an argument between two players, and you turned around and said he's not going to change his decision now. Just walk away. Was that you?
Yes, that was me.
Yeah.
How very mature of me.
I know, yeah. But considering it wasn't our game to watch.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, if it was a Skem game, we'd still be slating the ref now, probably.
Yeah. So we got talking to a really nice guy, by the way, didn't we?
We did, yeah. Nice man with blue hair.
Blue hair, yeah. Blue rinse.
Blue rinse. It did look like blue rinse, actually.
Yeah, it matched the colour of Clitheroe shirts.
Also matched the colour of most people's hands, considering how freezing it was.
Yeah. So, interesting conversation with him.
Very interesting conversations with him, particularly around the players, which players were kind of fit for purpose, which ones weren't. He said that he was more than happy to see one particular player leave when he signed for another club.
It surprised both of us, that.
Certainly did, yeah, because we thought that this particular player was...
the bee's knees?
That was the absolute bee's knees and a talisman of Clitheroe, but apparently not.
He could blow hot and cold?
Apparently he could blow hot and cold when he wanted to. It's all about his own motivation. Now then.
Yeah.
Should we...
I was just going to say to you, overall, so your overall experience of Clitheroe, you go back again?
Oh, God, yeah, I'd go back again. I mean, I bought chips and a couple of pints. I even bought a pin badge.
Yeah.
I really soaked in like the away day, the ground hopping atmosphere. So I sort of thoroughly immersed myself. So now I have a start of a collection of pin badges and pint cups.
Yeah, I told the story. My dad used to have a caravan nearby. Was it West Bradford?
West Bradford.
I used to call it Little Bradford, but West Bradford. And so I used to go to watch Clitheroe quite often.
Yeah.
And then when I had the opportunity to, I always, if there was a game on at Clitheroe and Skem weren't playing, I tended to go towards Clitheroe. I just liked the experience there. I didn't find the only thing that disappointed me this time round was I didn't find the supporters as vocal as they used to be in the past.
Very quiet, weren't
Maybe
they?
that was just end of season blues, nothing to play for.
End of season blues, nothing to play for. Lower turnout as well. The atmosphere, I think, was subdued. I think was probably the correct way of putting it. But even so, I'd have expected more noise from 450 odd fans, and I think there must have only been about 50 that were Bootle fans down at the bottom end. So they really were.
What did you think of Bootle?
Very
solid.
Impressive side. Very impressive side.
Very organised.
Really good on the counter. Yeah, they know how to move the ball in the final third. It could have easily been 3 or 4 that they'd scored. I think they were quite unfortunate.
Very narrow. It feels like a narrow pitch, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It was so narrow that one of the clearances ended up flying into the away end bar and then bouncing straight back out again. I
think if you're kicking uphill, you're crossing from uphill. You can really, really hoof it, can't you?
Yeah.
And it still doesn't go anywhere near the touchline. It starts to roll back.
Comes back down.
Starts to roll back down, but it's the opposite effect, isn't it? It's going downhill the other way, and you overkick it, and it ends up in the stand.
Yeah, exactly.
But listen, great experience.
Wonderful experience.
Fabulous, well-run club by a lot of great volunteers there. It was a great experience. Thank you. For letting us go.
Thank you for having us, Clitheroe.
Thank you for having us. Yeah, it was a tremendous experience. Lovely little nice clubhouse there as well.
Yeah.
Well looked after, and
hope to be back there again.
Yeah, best of luck for next season.
Best of luck for next season. We hope your fortunes turn around. Now then, controversial corner.
There's not much to it.
No, there is very little in controversial corner this week. So the main sort of topic of contention is that a story we discussed last week, which was a fan of FC United, Alan Duckfield, sent an email to the league chairman criticising the decision to play FC United's home game against Stockton at a neutral venue following 4 successive postponements of the fixture. Mark Harris, who was the chairman that received the email, sent him a reply of, "Thank you for your lovely email, now go F yourself." Mark Harris was subsequently dismissed as Northern Premier League chairman pending a full investigation. And Harris...
By the FA, not by the Northern Premier League?
No, by the Northern Premier League.
I thought it was the FA that are conducting the investigation.
I don't believe so, no. I think it's an internal one. Harris has reportedly apologised quickly via another email, but that's done very, very little to assuage the damage.
So we featured this on last week's show, didn't we?
We did.
And at that particular moment, there was no sign of resignation then, was there?
No, there wasn't.
So he's resigned now. Was he dismissed or he resigned?
He was dismissed.
It says he was dismissed, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Now, we had split opinions on this one last week. Now, at that particular moment last week when we discussed it, we didn't know that he'd sent an email straight away apologising. Mm. Is that enough for this Alad to turn around and say, okay, fair enough, he's under an awful lot of stress here? And it's not just his decision, it's a group decision. And like I mentioned earlier on in the show there, apparently Stockton had the right to call for a neutral venue because of the amount of games that were called off.
Yeah, if they have the right to call for it, then they have the right to call for it.
So if it's in the Constitution and the rule book for them to do it, then it's hardly worth really criticising the Northern Premier League.
No.
And why the chairman when it's a group decision?
Because, and I explained this to you over something that was happening at Skem, is that there are certain people within the bounds of an organisation who are the face of that organisation, and so almost automatically all of the failings of that organisation, regardless of whether they are group decision, a completely different department, something that's completely unassociated with. They are the face of that decision being made. And I think this Alan Duckfield has gone straight to the chairman because he is the face of the Northern Premier League's board of directors. So he's immediately the one who you would go to as a person of authority to illustrate your ire.
Yeah, listen, I can understand that, but considering that I think this is obviously, he's gone straight on Twitter and he's put this response by Mark Harris up on Twitter for everybody to see.
I don't think he's put the apology email.
He didn't put the apology email up there. No, that's what I'm saying to you. He's done that for clicks.
Mm-hmm. Oh God!
He's thought to himself, "Oh, I can't." First of all, he must have been absolutely gobsmacked. He couldn't believe what he'd read.
No.
I mean, listen, we're assuming that it's definitely come from him. I don't think, but it must have come from him if he's issued an apology. So, what was the time? Was it after 9 o'clock? Was it on the?
Yeah, it was 9:30.
9:30. So some people have insinuated that maybe he'd had one or two scoops and he was a little bit fed up with those, sod it, and he's pressed it
on a Tuesday night. Yeah.
You know what? I've put a text together or an email together, and then I've looked at it and I've just been about to click send, and then I've changed my mind last minute because I thought to myself, no, I could get myself into a bit of trouble here. And I'm not going to give you examples of it because I've come close to doing some really foolish things in the past with people that are responsible for running leagues, referees, you name it. I've come close to saying it, but I haven't. But you know what? It's so easy. It's so easy to click send and then go, oh, I can't bring it back now. Whereas on WhatsApp, you can delete it before people see it. If you're lucky, you've got a reprieve.
Yes.
But obviously he didn't. Maybe in the heat of the moment, in a fit at peak, he's thought, I'm going to say this, and sent it. Yeah. And then he's thought, oh no, done the wrong thing, yeah. And then immediately he's replied and said, listen, I'm sorry, shouldn't have said that. I honestly don't think it needs to get to this point where he has to be exposed. If that apology has come in immediately, I would have gone back to him and said, listen, fair dues, I'd have probably regaled everybody with the story. I'd have probably told everybody privately, you'll never believe what the league chairman said to me. You know what I mean? You'd say that when you're having a conversation with people. But I don't think you have to go and broadcast it to everyone. And listen, these are volunteers, by the way. I don't think that's a paid role, the chairman of the Northern Premier League. I think it's a voluntary role. Yeah. Listen, he's been there since 2005, so that's what?
21 years.
21 years. That's a long association. As far as I know, he still remains on the company's house records as a current director.
Well, he's been removed pending an investigation, so he could still come back.
Yeah, he still could come back, but then it says that he's been dismissed, so that doesn't suggest that he's going to be brought back.
Yeah.
I feel sorry for him. The man, if you ever get to meet him, and I've told you before, I've met him on a few occasions at, chairman's meetings or league meetings. He used to be the chairman of Whitton Albion, done a great job there for considerable years. The man is a very intelligent bloke, but we've all got our breaking points. And
we do.
I've said to you, there's things that I want to say to people directly to the faces that I can't.
Yeah,
but it's this thin line between doing it and preventing yourself from doing it.
And unfortunately, although that line is very thin, the two sides to the line are very, very contrasting. You know, he's found himself out of post as Northern Premier League chairman, and people are bad-mouthing him all over social media and what have you. Interestingly enough, I think this Alan Duckfield has played himself off as a complete victim. If I'm in any way associated with FC United of Manchester, I am ashamed by association of this little man. Because he's sent a whiny little email to the chairman of the Northern Premier League. Wasn't expecting a response from it, and when he's got a response, he's gone, think of the children! I'm a victim! How dare somebody use the F word at me? But then, interestingly enough, has neglected to actually point out that this man has sent him an apology email afterwards. Yeah. I mean, I assume that he's sort of...
This is all alleged, of course, isn't it? Because...
Yeah, well, I think it is all alleged. I certainly haven't seen evidence that Mark Harris has sent an apology email. I would hope that he has done.
You know what we're doing, though? We're losing somebody that's really been played an integral part of running a non-league league system, big non-league system.
Yeah, and argued probably one of the better ones.
Yeah, he's done an amazing job there. There's no doubt about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And
we're going to lose another really, really good, honest person.
Potentially,
maybe too honest in the end because he said what he felt.
He said what he felt, and then all of a sudden, he's been painted as the really bad guy just because he's had a moment of unprofessionalism, and we've all had that. Yeah. It's a real shame.
I just think we've got to that stage now. I don't think there's any way back for him. I think the league have already said that they've dismissed him pending further investigations. I think regardless of those further investigations, I don't think there's a reprieve for Mark Harris, unfortunately. That's sad. And listen, the only thing that the league can do, and they've already done it, is they've apologised themselves on behalf of the league themselves, and you put that to bed now. I don't think anybody that thought there's a slight opportunity now that home game FC United versus Stockton is going to get played at home now. I think it's still going to be played at the neutral venue, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's not going to change the decision. Maybe he thought by exposing Mark Harris for saying for writing that email, maybe he's thought there'd be a chance of the game getting switched back.
Yeah, but that's a bit like arguing with the referee, isn't it?
Well, there's certain people out there saying that there's always been a vendetta towards FC United.
Yeah,
I think there might have been at one stage, because I felt a bit like that myself back in the day. I always felt as though a team that sort of gets dropped into a league and has got a huge fan base is making you work ever so much harder. From our perspective at Schem United Football Club, we had to, we had a budget. All of a sudden, they've come up from the Northwest Counties, joined us in the Northern Premier League, and we've done well for in a 5-year period. We've qualified for 4 years out of that 5 for the playoffs, but we've come up against FC United at Gigg Lane, and we've lost in the final. Financial clout played a big part in it. There's absolutely no doubt about it. Yeah. So I felt a little bit aggrieved about that. But then it's the commitment the supporters that have shown and the people that have been involved that shows you how far they've come. Yeah. The fact that they've got their own stadium now as well in Broadhurst Park, which is a fabulous setup, by the way. It
is a good setup.
I don't feel as though there's as many people now have a vendetta towards FC United.
No, I don't think so. I think a lot of people kind of appreciate how far they've come in what is
a genuine football club. Then.
In what has admittedly been quite a short space of time, hasn't it?
A bona fide, honest football club now. But listen, we'll park the bus on that one, and no doubt we'll hear more about it over the next week or so. So listen, that's the end of the first part of the show.
We'll just hang on 1 second there, fella. I've got one more thing that I'd like to talk about, and that is the existence and current predictions of one X-handle called Non-League Maps, which we know all about. So for those of you who don't know, Non-League Maps likes to play a bit of a projections game for the following season about which teams will be where. In what leagues for the following season. So the projections is updated frequently depending on who is placed where in the table. And we've just received the newest projections for this week. And it has indicated some quite staggering changes amongst Northwest Counties North and Northwest Counties South. The key factor is that both leagues will have 20 teams in there. Currently, Counties North has 18, Counties South has, had 19, but now has 18 after the withdrawal of Wolverhampton Sporting Community. But the projections seem to indicate that Ashton Athletic will be relegated from Counties North. They are not projected to be in the in Counties North for next season. But Garstang will get the reprieve. But as Main Road also drop out of there. So at the minute, as things stand within the current climate, Garstang are actually second bottom of the table, with Ashton Athletic third bottom. And although projections mean that Garstang may overhaul Ashton Athletic into third bottom, having got one game in hand on Athletic, it still projects that Garstang will get a reprieve. It also shows the lateral movement of 4 teams, one of whom is from the Northern Counties East in Ilkley Town, who are Leeds based, and then the lateral movement of 3 teams from Counties South in Cheadle Heath Nomads, who are based in the Stockport postcode, New Mills in Derbyshire, and then Stockport Georgians also coming through, and they will be joined by relegated City of Liverpool and promoted Flixton and Uppermill. Right, and then in the County South, MSB Woolton will be laterally moved from the north, assuming they don't get promoted, which at this moment in time they may not do. Bilston Town and Wensfield, who are both in the Midland Leagues, in the Midland League 1, if you like, the equivalent in the Midland League of Counties South. And then they'll be joined by Litherland Remyca and Uttoxeter Town as being relegated from Midland Premier League and Northwest Counties Prem, and promoted sides Crewe, Brereton Social and Dawley Town.
Does that not all give you a bit of brain ache?
It's a very difficult one to understand.
Very complex to understand.
It is, yeah. So it would mean that Hormond don't get the reprieve. Wolverhampton Sporting Community, who we know dropped out already, but a reprieve for Market Drayton Town. But lateral movements mean, and a couple of relegations and then a couple of promotions mean that there's room for 8 new teams within County South and 7 within Counties North.
Yeah, listen, I think the biggest thing that bugs me is the fact that Flixton could automatically go into the Northwest Counties.
Yeah.
That really, really annoys me, because I've said it before, if we'd have decided to go kaput at the end of last season and reapply, would we have had more chance of getting back into the Northwest Counties than we currently do? It seems that Flixton, I don't know, maybe it's because they've got their own stadium, maybe it's because there's a bit of financial clap behind there, that there's less of a gamble bringing Flixton into the league.
Yeah.
They've met all the criteria that the Northwest Counties want. They're going to be a relatively big club. I still think they've got to back it up with supporters. I don't know how you buy supporters. You might have a £5 million backing off US businessmen.
Yeah.
But
you're going to need people to be interested in you.
Yeah. Plus, you've got to have complete faith in your management team. I can't remember who the manager is, but I know the assistant manager is Rodri Giggs, isn't it?
It is Rodri Giggs.
That's going to be a firecracker, that, by the way.
Yeah.
That's going to be an interesting one, disciplinary-wise, next season.
It is Alex Mortimer.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah. So, he actually was captain of Flixton during the 2005-2006 season. Yeah, he's going to be joined by Rodri Giggs, the brother of Ryan. So, it's an enormous headache. I think it sets I think it puts a couple of noses out of joint, to be honest, particularly due to the logistics of having to travel as far as they are. Uttoxeter Town based in Stoke. Who else? Bilston and Wensfield, both based in Wolverhampton, but they'll be travelling up to Asheville, which is right on the far side of Merseyside, right by the river.
There's no kind of protection, is there, though? Even so, imagine all the lateral movement. People have fitted into their particular leagues, whether north, south, east, west, whatever they are, central leagues. They're all put into their positions. There's no guarantee the season after that they're going to remain in the same league, and that's in terms of consistency, budgeting. There's no consistency. I think what a team wants now is they want to know that if they're going to be put into the Midland League, they want to know whether they're going to be there for one season or more.
Yeah.
They don't want to be going in there and thinking, well, yeah, okay, we're budgeting for it now. In terms of recruitment, we're going to recruit from that particular area because it's easier to get players.
Yeah.
But if you moved again, it has a huge financial impact on football.
It's an enormous financial impact.
The FA don't give a...
No, they really don't care.
And this is not really down to the leagues. The leagues are very, very helpful. The one thing I've learnt about the North West Counties is probably the North West Counties is one of the best run leagues at Step 5, Step 6.
Do you think that there needs to be some oversight amongst, counties level football, but not the FA? Do you think there needs to be like a middleman between them that would be able to manage this a little bit better?
Everything goes through the FA, doesn't it? So there's no choice there, unfortunately. The FA, they're like they're the mafia of football, aren't they? Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I think
looking at it.
I think they need to start listening more, and hopefully this group of people that have got together, I think, was it North West Counties and the Midlands League? They've formed an alliance.
They have, yes.
And they're sort of, I don't know whether remonstrating, talking with the FA, putting their point forward. Yeah. Hopefully it'll work. But you know what? We've got a similar scenario coming up possibly at the end of next season. Is that there could be an increase from 17 leagues to 24. That increases pressures on football clubs coming up from Step 7.
Yeah.
And once again, unless you've got a protected promotion that says to you you're going to be there for at least 2 or 3 seasons, what's the point in putting all your money into ground grading to get your grade up in order to get you up a level when the FA can just push you from pillar to post? It doesn't make sense to me.
No, it's not fair, is it? There's just, as you say, there's no consistency. There's no grounds for stability either.
You've either got to lower the ground grading to accommodate these clubs so they don't have to spend much money. But then the other thing, of course, is if the likes of MSB Walton do get promoted to the North West Counties Premier Division, there's no guarantee that they won't be laterally moved
to the Midland League.
To the Midland League or somewhere else. We don't know. What I'm saying to you is any team now that gets promoted from the Division 1 North is not guaranteed
to be in the Premier League.
Well, who was the classic example of that last season?
It was Winsford and Abbey Hulton, wasn't it? So they both got moved.
You could understand
Abbey Hulton.
Well, because there's not much difference between the pairs.
No, I suppose not. No, but I suppose Route 1 Rovers is the other example, based over in Bradford, but they're not playing
Northern Counties East now.
But they're not. Yeah, they're playing Northern Counties East now, but they were playing West for. They were playing West for last season anyway, at the very least. So there's just. Yeah, I get that there's sort of regions, but there's just no rule book on it. You know, any team could find themselves being laterally moved to having to play 60 miles away, at least.
Well, the worst thing about all of this anyway is we're not going to find out. When did we find out? Was it June? It was June before we found out what our fate was. We knew there was a good chance that we were going to get relegated anyway, purely based on the points per game ratio, which was really poor. I think it was bottom 5 in Step 6, wasn't it?
I'm afraid it was. Yeah, it wasn't quite as bad as being bottom of the bottom, but we were pretty close, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So there's only so many complaints that we could have given, really, but that's not the point. There's just
you want to know whether you're getting relegated, and if you're getting relegated, where you're going.
Yes.
If you're getting promoted, you want to know which division you're going into. There's got to be some clarity. But in my opinion, this will be a battle that we'll be fighting for generations.
Not if there's an extra influx of leagues going into 26-27.
Yeah, but we've already done that. We've already done that to accommodate the imbalance already. So what we're doing is we're creating... If more teams from the northern sections get promoted, you'll have an imbalance anyway. Eventually you will have an imbalance because if one sort of region gets promoted more than others, then eventually you're going to have to laterally move, regionalise, changes. It's a conundrum I'm glad that I'm not responsible for.
No, but I think it's a conundrum that comes with the natural growth of football at this level, isn't it? You know, we talk constantly about how more teams are, being born, if you like, and it's saturating so much of what is already a deeply, deeply saturated market. And they're just having to accommodate the kind of the growth, really, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, we'll try and park the bus again on the Controversial Corner.
Yes, we will.
In the second part of the show, we will be speaking to Steve Scott, the manager of Litherland Remyca.
Hello and welcome back to the second part of the Speaking Frankly football show, and today we have a guest. So of all the guests that we've had on the Speaking Frankly football show, 3 of them have been called Steve, and I'm really excited to say that we have our 4th Steve on the show, and I may be more excited than ever to introduce Steve Scott on the show, the manager of Litherland Remyca. Welcome to the show, Steve.
Oh, thanks very much. Cheers for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
No, not at all, mate. It's our pleasure. I suppose the first question that I've got to ask, and I'm going to ask it right off the bat, is what in all of God's glory do you think you are doing with Litherland Remyca at the moment? I mean, I've read every single footballing script going since football way back in yesteryear. No script has ever said that from when you arrived at the club in January up until now that Litherland Remyca are still within a fighting chance of getting out of the relegation zone. Like, you must be really proud of what's going on with the club at the minute.
Yeah, absolutely, and appreciate what you said there. I am incredibly proud, of course. I mean, I am conscious that we are on the cusp, just 48 hours away from the final game of the season, and it would be out of character for me to kind of eulogise about that before kind of any, it's finished, if you like, if the season's finished. But of course, I think you're right. I think everybody who I spoke to, although all my family and friends who I spoke to in terms of when I was offered the job, believed it was the right fit for me, and based on what I told them and all these things, I think they also said, but you need to be prepared because this is going to be a different situation to what you've been in before, largely, and perhaps to not set your own expectations too high, because I know as well I do set my my expectations as high as possibly can, and I did take that on board, but absolutely, but also you are who you are, and I believe in myself. I knew what was there, and I think we got to work straight away in terms of looking to bring in some additional talent and work with the players who we had and trying to get them off the floor a little bit, and I think we've managed to do that pretty quickly. And that's why it's the best game in the world, isn't it? Because it just gives you, it does, when opportunities present themselves, you've got 2 ways to kind of handle it, accepting where you were and just going, okay, we'll try again next season, or just go for it now. And that's what we did, and what we've done. So, I think I wrote in my programme notes, if when I took over, if we'd been offered the game at the end of the season and said you could take it to the last game of the season, and if you won, you'd have a chance of staying up, would you take it? There wouldn't have been a person around, I don't think, who would have said no. So I am pleased, I am proud of the club, really. And Matty Henderson, who's my assistant manager, has come in with me and done a fantastic job with his first kind of assistant manager role. So I'm really pleased kind of everybody's got together. But, like I said, we're 48 hours away, and I suppose ask me that question next week and I'll tell you how proud I am.
That's fair enough. We'll kind of go back to the beginning of your kind of footballing journey. So we always start with this question, which is that football can be both a gift and a challenge. So what has it given you, Steve, and then what has it taken away?
Yeah, so I mean, football like probably everybody who you have on these, and I'm sure it'll be the same for you guys, is my life, you know, outside of family life. I don't think about anything else really, and so it's absolutely a gift in that respect. I was lucky enough, I suppose, as a boy, growing into a young man, to be a good player, but I think the challenges for me come once I kind of left school, when I had kind of natural talent but probably didn't have the desire, and the mental kind of fortitude really to take me any further with that, and didn't really understand that, and that kind of left me in a bit of a dark place for some time. And what football management managed to do, you know, I kind of went through a relatively successful, amateur career, particularly Sundays, when there was a really good Sunday scene around at the time, and you know, the 2000s, early 2000s, and the 2010s, early on. And I think once I moved into management, I actually thought, yeah, this is a bit of me, and actually kind of the what I lacked as a player from a mentality and a drive perspective, I've kind of gone into overdrive with that as a manager, and I'm determined to be everything I wanted to be, but from the sideline. And I think so that's a huge challenge every day, and pushing yourself to be better. It probably sounds like cheesy, as I'm managing like a semi-pro team, but ultimately, I suppose it's all relative to the individual, isn't it? And for me, you know, this is the job I'm in now is the highest level I've been at so far, and you know, I don't want to stop there, and I want that. You know, I want people to come with me, and I want to back myself to do that. So yeah, I hope that's answered your question.
How difficult do you find the North West Counties Premier Division? We know the North West Counties from past experience, and even Division 1 North is extremely difficult, but the challenge of taking on a club at the lower echelons of the league in the Premier Division takes on a totally different scope altogether.
It's a good question, Frank, and it does. And funnily enough, I was talking to my friend this morning, and he asked me the exact same question, and I guess my answer would be the same. It's incredibly difficult, but also I think it's not really for me to worry about who else is in the division, whatever the division is and where it is. It's about me worrying about my players, my dressing room, you know, my club, and if we first of all, can we become competitive? Can we start to win? Can we win all the time? And that's kind of the process I want to go through. And what I have found is, which I've been really pleased with, is the higher the level. Obviously, it's not necessarily about talent. Of course, it is about talent and athleticism and those things, but it's actually the higher levels you go, it's more around kind of the quicker people think, you know, their IQ's better, they understand the game. You ask them to do something, they can do it, easier, if you like. And I found that really kind of encouraging, because we have to do things a little bit differently sometimes, or I want to do things and challenge the norms of patterns of play and all these things. So putting that on players who are playing at a higher level is actually, dare I say, a little bit easier to kind of get across. So I've just actually found the whole experience incredibly a very happy experience, you know, real challenge, and like the highs are really high, the lows of course really low, but actually at the end of the day, at the end of every game we've had, whether we won or lost, I've just thought, I love this, I love it, and I love being part of that and coming up against the different challenges we've had. So yeah, I think it is an incredible challenge, but of course, you know, to be honest, the challenge comes from what the club you've got and the players you have to deal with, and that's what I'll just continue to focus on, really.
Do you think not knowing a great deal about the North West Counties Premier and your competition has helped you in that sense?
Yeah, I mean, I do know about them, I suppose,
but in terms of management and being there on a week-to-week basis,
I guess so, Frank. Yeah, I mean, I suppose again, it depends how you look at it. Maybe they don't know me, and that may make it easier for me. I think there's, without a doubt, when you're walking into a club after 30 games and it's got 7 points on the board, people aren't really taking you seriously, are they? Let's have it right. So, but I think pretty quickly they did start to. So, you know, I don't think that has then gone, all right, well, we've gone backwards then as a result. We haven't. I think it's actually just given our players more belief that we can compete, and not just compete but win. So yeah, I think it is a challenge. There's no doubt about that. But also, like, what's there to be, frightened of? It's just a game of footy, isn't it? You know what I mean? Like, let's just have that.
Yeah, I suppose it's the same sketch for every club. You look at you've come into a football club. They're not scoring many goals. They're conceding a lot. So you're looking at a striker, a goalkeeper. You've certainly brought a couple of players in that can score goals. Mark Madden being one of them.
Dylan and Callahan being another.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're right, fellas. That's it, isn't it? I mean, we can all we can sit down and we can get our tactics boards out and look at this and look at that and say we want to do this, we want to counter press this and transition that. But first and foremost, you need to find some good players, and you need to find good people. Actually, is a major thing, because having a great footballer who's got a bad attitude just isn't going to work, and particularly when you're in the position we're in, or certainly we're in. So you're absolutely right. But it all starts and ends with players, doesn't it? And then it's just you as a manager, kind of, can you get them to buy into what you want, and effectively whatever that is, whether it's total football or direct hitting the channels or whatever it is. If everybody's behind it and everybody's backing it, you've got half a chance. And I think that's we're not there yet, but we're on our way with that, and I think that's kind of shown, really.
It's starting to show. If you want to be that kind of. What would you say? Modest about it, I suppose. When you got there, as you say, you inherited a squad that had sort of 7 points to its name, and everyone just seemed almost certain that they were gonna be relegated. When you talk about trying to get players to buy into what you're looking to achieve, how did you get them to buy into Litherland Remyca?
Yeah. So in truth, my connection with the Remy was kind of through as an opposition for a long time. Do you know what I mean? So I knew a lot of like the old legends from the club and stuff like that. So I think it would have been a bit silly of me to reach out to players and tell them this club's amazing, it's this, it's that, because they would have been like, well, you've only just got there, how do you know? So I think it was just trying, none of the players who were brought in were people I didn't know of. I didn't necessarily know them all, but I'd known of them. And what I did do when I left my previous job, back in September, was I went out and watched a lot of football, and the Merseyside scene. If you look at the kind of teams that are around, both in the counties, divisional leagues in the Prem, and then of course you've got your lower Brex, etc. What it does show you is there's some really top footballers in this city, and I think we're all kind of desperate sometimes to look at academies and all these things, and they're great, and there's some incredible talents there and all of these things, but also there are lads who maybe a bit like me as a player who played a lot of kind of step 7 or lower level semi-pro football, who hadn't just really been given opportunities, and I went out and made a real kind of I suppose just kind of kept my eyes really open. I don't technique's great and all these things, but actually, like, who's got the right characteristics, who's going to make a difference, who looks like, can you get to know them a little bit? What happens if you drop them a message? Do they come back to you? Do they not, even if they don't know you? And I was just trying to kind of build up a bit of some ideas for myself, really, if the opportunity come. And when it did, like I said, that's when I kind of went and addressed those people and asked them to give me a chance more than really, and for me to give them a chance, and well, touch wood, so far I think it's worked.
Yeah, listen, one of your players is our former captain, Harry Middlehurst, and I know his dad really, really well, Neil, and I've spoken to him recently, and he said that if you'd have been there at the beginning of the season, it would have been a totally different picture altogether. You could have been looking at the playoffs.
Yeah, I suppose it's all hypothetical, isn't it? I think I'm absolutely confident with another 5 or 6 games. I don't think we would have been in the position we're in today. But I guess that's just over the body of the work. Like I said, from 15 games, we've had 10 results. So if you just base that on, even if we'd had another 2 results out of the 5, well, we wouldn't be here now. So, but also, like, I guess the reason I got the opportunity is because the club's where it's at. I knew the assignment when I took it on. I knew how many games I had. I'm actually I won't use the word like, we're massively fuming. We're still in the position because we were minutes away in 3 games from taking maximum points and stuff. So, but that's who I am. I want to, and all. Listen, there's lots of brilliant managers out there, isn't there? Some who've got CVs, absolutely massive in comparison to mine at the moment. But I want to instill in my players that we want to be winners, and I don't want to, it's no hard luck stories. It's no ifs and buts. Like, we are where we are. That's great, and it's lovely to hear that. And I believe that as well. But also, I'm twitching when you say it, because I'm like, no, I want to win the league. I don't want to be in the playoffs. But yeah, look, I don't want to change that. Like, I don't want to kind of set expectations for myself too low. I know everybody says, put pressure on yourself to do that and all these things, but it's like, well, what are you in the game for if you don't want to win? And I do, and if I fall short, I'm okay with that, as long as we're kind of giving everything to try to get there. And yeah, so that's, I've probably gone off on one there, Frank, but yeah, you got me talking about winning, so that's what happens.
Listen, every manager will always tell you that they've got ambitions. I don't care how many of them say, nah, not at all. Every manager has ambitions. When you were pitched with the job at Remyca, you'll obviously have spoken to the chairman and the kind of the organisation behind it. What was the reality of what you were told? Given you'd obviously seen where they were in the table, and what were you told, and about kind of expectations, about club morale, everything like that, that kind of led you to buy into him?
Yeah, so it's a funny one. So Don Rimmer, who's the chairman, and I've got to say, he's I've known Don for a long time, kind of as a, say hello to him a little bit. Like I said, cross paths, we're both local and all these things. And Don goes to the same gym as me. He's retired now, so that probably tells you the standard I'm operating at in the gym, because but honestly, he's an incredible fella. We've got to know in just a short space of time, the amount of kind of love and affection previous people associated with the club have with him kind of never leaves. And I don't think if you're not a fantastic person that would happen, you know what I mean? So we're in this gym, so obviously I would talk to him, a little bit, like when I seen him in the gym, particularly when I was in my previous job, and he'd ask us how we were getting on and how they were getting on. And then obviously I'd seen it wasn't going too well. And I had hoped kind of the call was going to come. I did drop a couple of subtle hints. Not that subtle, actually. But yeah, no, I did, all joking aside, it was, we would talk kind of a little bit. And I did think there was an opportunity, or potentially there was an opportunity when Luke Denson left earlier in the season. Luke's a great lad, who I know a little bit as well. And I'd had a couple of chats with Luke, but it wasn't to be, they went another way. So when the call kind of eventually come, off the back of seeing him in the gym one morning, and he said, "Look, we our previous manager's left. Can I give you a call? Will you come and meet with us?" I was happy to do that. I was delighted to do that, and I think the biggest thing for them was about trying to restore a bit of pride back in the shirt, and not almost become a laughingstock, and get back to kind of wanting something to cheer. Really, they weren't really concerned about winning games. Of course they wanted to win games, but it wasn't about, like, I suppose what I'm saying is, it wasn't expectations to survive expectations. Yeah, to just kind of put a bit of respect back on the badge and build for the future. And so they were a little bit surprised when I told them I believed I could keep them up.
You told them that?
Yeah, well, but I've gone not to hide. Like I said, if I don't believe it, then why would anybody else? And I meant it. So I told them that, and then I went outside. It was a Saturday afternoon, the reserves were playing. I know a lot of the reserves from, again, a previous job. We come up against them, and I was just watching the game. He come out and collared me and said, we'd like to offer you the job. So yeah, it was, I must have said something right, so that was good.
I think everybody automatically thinks that. I mean, we spoke off mic before how difficult it is to get involved in football management to get those jobs, those opportunities, and sometimes we just think because other managers are losing their jobs, it's easy to get a job in non-league football. It's not that easy, is it really?
Absolutely not. I mean, to be honest, I kind of want to try and fly the flag a little bit here for, for those who kind of don't have the playing background or perhaps aren't the UEFA Pro license, A license, B license coaches and all of these things. There's nothing wrong with that, by the way. I think it's fantastic what these guys do. You look at some of the work that's going on, some of the teams that play. It's brilliant, but there is different ways, and I think, and there is different ways of it's like life, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's, we don't navigate it all the same way. And it's the same with your football team and having a group of people, and I I was really disappointed, or had been disappointed, that I'd had particularly successful time at my first club, and it was at a lower level, which we brought them through to kind of the top of amateur football, the top end of the amateur football scene in Merseyside and West Cheshire, but to then it was a bit like, you haven't managed at this level before, or you don't have that license, and that's fine, because at the end of the day, I suppose it's a dog-eat-dog world. But I think I needed somebody to kind of think a little bit, I suppose, outside the box and present me with the opportunity. I wasn't taking a step down, taking this job. This was the highest level I'd managed at. So the Remy were feeling down in the dumps because they were bottom of the Premier Division. But I did say inside the clubhouse, there's a picture of when they were promoted from the North Division. And I said, you're playing at a higher level now than you were then. Look how happy you were. I was like, we need to get out of this. We can't, we've got to stop feeling sorry for ourselves. And it's just a game of footy, isn't it? Like, we've got to let's have a go at it. And so it's been really tough. And it was, like I said, I'd almost maybe peace with it wasn't going to happen, and I genuinely had. But then there you go. I suppose once I stopped looking, started playing paddle, and I was getting all right at it as well, and then it come around, So I don't think my missus was happy with me. That 180 quid racket went to waste, but there you go.
Listen, Gary Moore, the manager of Low Breck, is probably a classic example of someone that can take a club from the lower echelons of amateur football and take them right up into the Northern Premier League.
And what a job he's doing, do you know what I mean? And I've got the utmost respect. I've got to, like, genuinely, it's not a soundbite. Like, I respect every manager, because I know for whatever reason where they're doing, and obviously it's a 24/7 thing. It is literally a second job, you know what I mean? And you only get the plaudits at the very top end, but the criticism comes everywhere else. Yeah. And Gary's a brilliant example of that, but there are others, but perhaps not enough. I'm not young. I still, it's funny, isn't it? You still think you're young. I still think I'm young in terms of football terms, but then there's lads managing, even the Premier League, now in their early 30s, late 20s and all these things, and I'm in my 40s, so I needed to get a move on. He's a great example and one of the best examples. And by the way, what football they play, and like he might have some badges and all these things, and I'm asked about it a lot. Like you said, I know I've mentioned that a few times, but have you got your A licence, B licence? And I'll say no, but I'll be plenty of them who have. So,
listen, Tommy Lawson, one of the greatest managers in non-league football over the last few decades, never had a badge to his name and won loads of honours.
I think it's validation, isn't it? It's validation that you can. That you can operate at a certain level. I do get it. I appreciate it and understand it, but also you can qualify by experience, can't you? Or if it's, I'm highly qualified in another area of my life, in my professional life, which is around people management, and effectively, that's what a football team is, isn't it? It's a team. It's a team of people. So I suppose if you're asking those coaches, do you have a master's degree in people management? Well, they're going to say no. So does that make me more qualified than them? I don't know, but it's relative,
It does raise a question about combined management, chairmans, directors, managers, coaches, in terms of, because obviously your last job at Asheville was short-lived, but so that's a question I'm asking you, is how long should a club be giving a manager before they decide to part ways?
Yeah, it's a good question. Although I will tell you that they didn't decide to part ways with me. I did resign, but it was but not on bad terms. By the way, I just felt like it would just come to the end of our kind of our relationship together. Just in terms of my ambitions and the club's ambitions, not that they're not ambitious at all. And I'll be forever grateful to Ashfield because they were the first ones to give me an opportunity in the North West Counties. It's a results-driven business, Frank, isn't it? And everybody knows that. You can be the most highly qualified person in the world, and if you lose 10, 11, 12, 13 games on the bounce, you're going to be in big trouble. And by the same token, if you don't have a qualification to your name, like Gary, I don't know if Gary has or he hasn't, by the way, but taking people, from park football to the level he has, unbelievable. He should have a job for life, or as long as he wants it. So I don't know, like, if you just look at the professional game, since I'm a Liverpool fan, our manager won the Premier League last year. He's fifth in the table now, and the pressure he's under is incredible. If that was flipped the other way, around, he'd be the Messiah right now, wouldn't he? So it's all, it's windows, isn't it, and what people see and what you're going through and all of these different things. And like I said, Ashfield was a personal decision for me, for my kind of well-being and for the future of the club and things like that. It was nothing to do with kind of what had happened on the pitch. Everything on the pitch was kind of okay, but that was part of my problem. It was just okay, and I wanted more than that.
So going back to Ashfield, one of we've talked about Harry Middlehurst as a player who's come through and developed under your stewardship. Another one who was at Ashfield, whose father messaged me, was Sean Draper, who you gave a start to. When you're looking at players and your encouragement into them starting out their footballing journey, are you looking at their natural talent, or are you looking at how you can mould them into being a better version of themselves?
Yeah, it's a loaded question, isn't it? I don't think there's any one answer, in all honesty, and I think if you only have one answer and one style, you've got to be adaptable to the situation you're in. So for me, being adaptable to the situation of the club and who we can attract with, and whether that be linked to your budget, whether that be to the location of your club, whether that be to where your club is in the pyramid. There's so many factors involved. Do they know anybody? Who do you know? Who knows them? Whose kind of validation are you going to take for them? There's so many different kind of factors involved. I think in the end, for me, a lot of it is everything, really. Everything's about relationships, isn't it? Everything's about, what do you feel when you speak to them? And I can't really tell you why I'll feel a certain way about somebody else or a situation that we're in, but sometimes it will just feel right, and sometimes it won't, or sometimes even if it doesn't feel right, you have to kind of go with it because your options are limited and needs must. So, and then it's a constant challenge for me, really, to like I said, manage a group of people, and I try whatever possible to minimise turnover. I will say to a player, I think in my 11 seasons involved in football management, I've probably asked certainly less than a handful of players to move on. It won't be me moving it on, it will be you. As long as you kind of, obviously you're not doing anything untoward and all these different things and acting in the best interest of the squad, because ultimately you'll play if you do enough to earn the right to play, and even if you don't, if you keep pushing the right way, then I won't be trying to move you on. There's so many different factors involved to it, but I think I can't swear on this pod, can I? But it's a no idiot policy.
I don't know. AJ does occasionally.
Yeah. Well, I'll just say I definitely have a no idiot policy, because I think you can be an unbelievable footballer, but if you are a bad egg, that makes others rotten around you, and in no team sport can that ever work, really. So that would, if I do have kind of one rule, it would just be that.
Going back to the original question about the combined efforts of a football club, it's very, very, it must be very difficult to run a club on a very, very small budget. That's why I would go back to the question about longevity. How long do you give a manager before you part company with him? And that's what I'm saying to you, is that if you're not getting the kind of budget that you need in order to get better players in, at what point does a chairman say, well, I mean, listen, I'm a chairman, by the way. At what point does a chairman stop and say, well, hang on a minute, we've got to give a manager enough time?
Yeah. I suppose, again, though, it will always come back to results. And I suppose, for me, Frank, again, it's all relative, isn't it? Like, I don't know other teams' budgets, but I'll guarantee you the Remy's is towards the top end of the league by any stretch of the imagination. However, compared to what I've had before, it's more. Yeah. So for me, I'm operating with the best budget I've ever had. Now, to everyone else, they go, "Oh, you only got this. You only got that. Oh, you're bottom of the Premier Division." Yeah, I don't know, but that's still okay, isn't it? Like, because I operated for 8 years with nothing. Our lads paid subs, like, genuinely, and I'd have 19, 20 every week wanting to play, and paying it, every month. And these things, it's about the culture you create, isn't it? So, I think, to answer your question, I suppose if I was a chairman in that situation, are you getting value for money? I suppose. Are you getting, I guess what might have happened before when we look at the Remy's records against what they had and what they were paying out on the results they were getting. That is going to be challenging for anyone to say that's successful. For us, there's no doubt, you can't deny, to get the best players, you need to pay the best money. That's just obvious. Again, the football pyramid throughout will tell you that there are exceptions occasionally, and we'll all strive and work towards that. But I think you can. I just kind of don't want to go off on a tangent, so I'll just finish that by saying it. Like, budgets are around, I guess, what you can attract, but professionalism and how you operate as a club is a mindset, isn't it? It's not how much money goes into your bank. That doesn't make you the most professional or the best. It just facilitates you to be there, and then you've got to deliver. And I think if we can kind of set up our club to facilitate and deliver the best, then hopefully we'll attract more people and more people who want to invest in our club, which means, and then things will grow like that. So I think that's kind of how it should work, and how you should measure if it isn't working as well.
It seems to be working, because looking at the previous results there, you beat Wythenshawe, top of the league champions, 2-1, and then you beat Ramsbottom 2-1 as well.
Yeah, it was a good week.
That was a very good week.
Yeah, no, it was. I mean,
well, they're games that you weren't expected to. You really, really weren't expected to win or even get anything out of at all.
By everyone else, yeah, probably. Not by us. And I think that's, again, where it starts, isn't it? Like I said, we can't, beggars can't be choosers. We're in the position we're in, and the fixtures I've walked into, 16 games in total, and I could see the last 6 games were always going to be a challenge. The reality was we could have been down by that point in time. So the fact we weren't, and full credit must go to the playing group, and like I said, to Matty Henderson and all the guys who were there in and around the club supporting the team, our kit men, and who've been around for forever and a day, and ask me every week why aren't they in the squad. The 2 of them, they're in like the 70s, the 2 of them, they're unbelievable. But it's we believe we can win, and that's about me setting them up, but they've got to go and do it. What I would say is, I think we got a little bit lucky against Wythenshawe in terms of, after Ryder, I'll look a little bit in some respects, but I think if you looked at it chance for chance, we made as many chances as them overall, and I think if you're showing that and putting that fight up away from home against a team pushing the league who are now over 100 points, and you get your results, I don't think there's any unlucky about that. And then the Ramsbottom result, we were good for it. There was no luck associated to it. I really do believe that we were good for it, and that's full credit to the players, because I can ask them and tell them all these things, but they've got to go and produce it, and they did.
Yeah, definitely did. You'd taken a point off Ramsbottom a few weeks beforehand anyway.
Yeah.
In terms of the the kind of the belief within the players? I mean, you said yourself that you believed that you could get them out of trouble, but then they've got to do it. When you arrived, like, morale in the squad must have been really, really low. At what point did that start to pick up into a belief that, actually we could get out of this here?
I gotta say, I'd never walked into anything like it before. Really? It was, to you, I like an analogy, mate, and I said to Matthew after the first game, I said, but if you in a fight and you get punched 27 times out of 30 times a punch is thrown, you're gonna start wincing, and you're gonna be worrying about the next one because it hurts, you know what I mean? And I think when I walked into the dressing room for that first game, the game v St Helens at home, it was. They were complete strangers. They were just broken, and that doesn't mean they're not good footballers, and it doesn't mean they're not good people. But they were just, like I said, if it happens to you 27 times out of 30, then you're gonna expect it to happen again. So it was there was no big team talk around tactics and stuff like that. It was literally how quickly can we get them together. And just get them, whatever the tactic is, it doesn't really matter, just get them all doing it and get them all fighting, you know what I mean? So it was just about just tapping into that really, and they responded to that. So I think in terms of when they thought they could start winning games, it's when they get a first result, when you're telling them something and it comes off, or you're asking them to play and you're saying, you know what, you're a good player, you've got to remember you're there as well, you're not there as cannon fodder for an opposition, and then they start to kind of listen to you, and it happens again, and listen, and we're still massively on that kind of that process. We're nowhere near it. Like we got beat last Saturday, and we got beat well, so we're nowhere near the finished article, and it's still a battle, a mental battle for these players, but from where they were to where they are now, again, full credit, because they started to believe pretty quickly, and I don't know why that is, but they did, and I'm really grateful that they do.
So listen, it all boils down to Saturday, of course, the game against Burscough. How have you prepared yourself? How are you preparing the players? I know you've got training later.
Yeah, so it's really important, isn't it? I think, like, with this situation, and like final scenario situations, from my own experiences, good and bad, I think you can be too hyped up too early. So I've actually really tried to kind of not focus on it for a couple of days at least, and just try to kind of preoccupy my mind with other things. It's very tempting to throw messages into lads and stuff like that, and get them kind of focused on it so early. But guys, I've said it a few times now, but look, at the end of the day, at 4:45 on Saturday, we'll have got the job done, or we won't, but there's bigger things. It's the most important. I love Jurgen Klopp, and what he said is the most important of the non-important things, and that's it, isn't it? You know what I mean? We'll do it, or we won't. But if we do, that'll feel amazing, and coming starting tonight, we'll start to prepare them for that and get them in the right headspace for it. But also, we could win on Saturday. We could win well on Saturday, and by the way, I'm not expecting that by any stretch of the imagination. What Tsffs has done at Burscough, and brilliant club, some great players there, so we know we're in for a really tough afternoon. But even if we did win, it still might not be enough, because
I know we're all taking it for granted that Pilks are going to lose, of course, which they could win themselves.
AJ, honestly, I know you guys have said it, and others have said it to me, and all these things. And I know Lano, was an opposition of mine for years, and another local lad, and he's a great fella, Carl. It's the manager in me, I suppose. It's always glass half empty in some respects, but I don't expect that to happen. I have to prepare for the worst. But always believing we can do the best, you know what I mean? And so all we can do is just control our destiny, and if we win, we did everything we could to the best we could in those 16 games, and that's where we ended up. And that's just what I'll be telling the lads. If we overplay it, if we try to I don't know, get into them now, and none of them are going to sleep for 2 days. So we've just got to like just turn up on Saturday and execute what we've been trying to execute for the last 15 games and see if it's good enough. And if it is, then then we'll have a good night Saturday. And if we don't, we'll still have a good night because we gave it everything, and that is genuinely all I'll ask of them.
Yeah, listen, an important factor might be the actual pitch itself on Saturday, because I've come across a questionnaire where you mentioned that you love 4G pitches. So how are you finding life at Litherland Sports Park right now?
Yeah, great. I mean, I believe you have to use whatever you're playing to your own advantage. There's things I would do at Litherland Sports Park next season. Obviously, it's too late for this year, and it's a challenge because it's not owned by the Remy and stuff like that. But there's things I need to do. I think we need to do to help ourselves. Like, I don't think any club should be making things on the pitch the most hospitable for their opponents. Why? Because they want it to be. Well, that's exactly why it's a game, innit? It's a match. It's us v you. So, if Burscough are a really good football team and brilliant on 4G, so to be honest, I hope it bounces down, and I might walk down there and just thread the pitch up to make it like a farmer's field. Because if that helps us, then it helps us. Do you know what I mean? And I don't think you should apologise for anything. It's like I said, it's us v them. So if you win, that's all that counts. Yeah. And so it's sound, and like you said, the people there are brilliant and they do everything. But we do think there's things we could do to kind of attract more people to the club, and like I said, make it more beneficial for the Remy in terms of the pitch dimensions and having standing potentially closer to the pitch. All those things would make a huge difference to us, and something we're definitely going to explore.
Yeah, listen, I'm really very good friends with Jay Hawkes, the Burscough chairman, but you'd be the first to admit that they've not been playing particularly well on the grass. So, like I say, it might just go in your favour on Saturday. Well,
I definitely won't say anything, but other than I hope you're right.
Yeah, listen, it's been absolutely fabulous having you on the show. Listen, we wish you all the best of luck, even if it's at the cost of Burscough on Saturday, because we're friends with Burscough. But
I think on the fly we are slightly just rooting for you, just that little bit more, but we won't tell Jay.
Yeah, it'd be a bit of a fairy tale story if you do it.
It'd be Hollywood, absolutely Hollywood. But that's all to come for Saturday, and we wish you well, whatever happens, mate. Thank you very so much.
Thanks very much for having us, lads. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Cheers. All the best. Take care now.
Cheers, Steve. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Cheers.
Hello and welcome to the final part of the Speaking Frankly football show, and a big thank you to Steve Scott in the second part of the show for agreeing to come on first of all, but managing to sort your little sort of dream out as well.
Little sort of dream, honestly. Just because I asked him about 6 weeks ago whether he would want to come on the show, and we did eventually get him on. But
he was your dream guest.
It was not my dream guest, although I am very glad that he's come on.
You've had a fantasy about...
let's just...
No, a football fantasy. It's okay, football fantasy. You've seen this renaissance in Remyca, and you want to see it come to fruition. And
yes.
You feel as though Steve Scott is just... he's upset the apple cart at the bottom of the division.
He's torn up every single script about football that there ever was.
Yeah.
Any team who's bottom with 7 points at the tail end of January, they have no right to be still in the battle for surviving relegation with 1 game to go.
I know.
It just doesn't happen. But he's come out of nowhere and chucked a grenade amongst all those scripts and said, I'm going to make it happen. And he's 1 game away from doing it. And I really hope he does do it. He's also a thoroughly nice guy, and I've really enjoyed speaking to him.
Yeah, listen, he was. He obviously quite knowledgeable.
I
think the interesting point was that he made that it's quite difficult to get involved in football management. Sometimes you've got to take those risks, and taking the Remyca job on was a little bit of a risk for him. but also could be great on his CV if he accomplishes what we think is a sort of
slightly achievable
Houdini
target.
act of escape.
Yeah. I think it could. Yeah, I think you're right, and I think this. If this was better publicised, they could make movies out of this. Michael Sheen will be coming in to play Steve Scott.
It is definitely fantasy football.
It is absolutely.
When you think about it, that's the point I'm making.
Yeah.
Because if come 10-5, 5-5 on Saturday, they've managed to beat Burscough and Pilks have not won. Equally for Pilks, by the way, who thought when they made a change of management and brought Glyn Hurst. By the way, Glyn Hurst worked very closely with Steve, which we didn't get to mention in the interview.
No.
But yeah, he when he first come back to the football club, I think they were on 30 points when Glyn.
Yeah.
What are they on now?
Pilks 30 points.
30 points. So they were 30 points when Glyn Hurst racked up. Turned up at the football club, and at that particular moment in time, I remember us talking about it and saying,
they've done enough.
They've done enough, but is this a gamble? Do you make major changes, or do you stick to what you've got? And we questioned whether Glyn had made too many changes at that time.
Yeah, we were talking about whether an overhaul was actually what was needed there, or whether there was actually the stability of Jack Edwards. Jack Edwards' squad. Yeah, whether that was kind of key to Pilks' survival, if you like.
Because they'd beaten
St Helens
on Boxing Day.
Yes, they had, and that was the day that Jack had resigned.
Yeah.
But after that had come in, like that was one of their last wins. But
it was their last win.
Yeah, exactly. But I thought that they'd done enough there. I think we both had thought that they had done enough because they weren't even third bottom at that point. There was still a fair few places above teams like Abbey Hay, FC Armagh.
We thought Abbey Hay were possibly going to be the other team that was going to be relegated.
Yes,
they've managed to escape as well.
Yes, they've staved off Remy and they've overhauled Pilks in the process as well. So they're now fourth bottom, 38 points. Obviously, easily guarantees their survival. So yeah,
I said it earlier on, didn't I? That you often teams escape through either huge budgets.
Yeah.
This is the beauty of non-league football. You can do the great escape. There's many clubs have done it over the years. They've managed to recruit decent players with decent budgets.
Yeah.
It appears Steve Scott has broke that trend and brought in good players
on shoestrings.
On a shoestring.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And that makes it even more amazing.
Yeah, it really does. And I think that's all about buying into Steve Scott rather than Litherland Remyca. So one of the first signings that he made was Mark Madden, who was his striking hitman over at Asheville. And what a inspired transfer that was, because I think Mark has scored about 9 goals or something like that since he came in January, and that's in Counties Premier, so it's still a step up.
We didn't mention it in the interview, but I'm led to believe that he might have a couple of instrumental players out on Saturday, which...
Yeah, so Mark came off. He was the player who came off
injured
against LR after sort of 10, 11 minutes. So it'll be interesting to see whether he's able to make the grade against Burscough, or at least have some part to play. Have some part to play in it. But yeah, it's regardless of what happens for Remy on Saturday, they've set themselves a really decent platform for how they're going to rebuild. Yeah.
Whilst I don't want Burscough to finish the season on a bad point, really, because they've had quite a difficult time lately. They can't buy a win.
No.
I do want Remyca to win. I genuinely do want them to win, and I think Jay will forgive me because this is the romantic in me coming out.
It is.
I definitely want Steve Scott to pull off
the great escape.
A great escape.
Absolutely.
I think it'd be good for the league.
Of course,
I think it'd be good for Remyca.
Yeah, it would.
And it'd be good for Liverpool teams as well, because it's another not easy derby, but it's another local derby for them.
It is another local derby for them. Just joys that, pulls in that sort of traction of Liverpool-based football, which we know is absolutely enormous, isn't it? Probably one of the biggest in the country.
Yeah.
So much football is being played at Liverpool. So we will swan dive and segue into our results.
Yes, results, yes. Go on. I'll let you...
Have you even done yours?
Yes, I've done mine, but I'm keeping it very, very secret.
For God's sake, that means you've done really well.
I've done exceptionally well.
Yeah, that's what I thought. 21.
23.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, 23. I hid it away, really, because I thought... Can't find the damn thing now. Never mind. It's somewhere. But I wrote it down there. It's 23, yeah. Did well.
Yeah, you did.
I think I didn't take as many risks. I did say to you last week, didn't I, that what I've tended to do in the past is take far too many risks in terms of putting my heart above proper predictions, really.
Yeah, I think that sounds about right. I made some daft calls, really. So I started out quite well on Saturday. I think I got 8 out of 12, but I predicted Ramy and South Liverpool to draw, which was a bit stupid of me. And then things kind of started to unravel a bit more during the midweek. I had Ashton Town and MSB Woolton to draw. I thought Runcorn Town were going to beat the Linnets, and then I thought Curzon Ashton were going to beat Drawston. I think he even had Prestwich Hayes away to West Didsbury and Chorlton. So some quite silly calls.
Yeah, I mean, the Premier Division, I got 3 wrong. So I got the Barnoldswick Exton Villa wrong, considerably wrong. I think Exton Villa won by 6 goals to 0, didn't they?
They did. I called that correctly, to be fair.
FC St Helens Chadderton, I had
Neither
that
of
as
us
a draw.
Yeah, I don't think either of us called that one correctly. I thought Chad were going to win that.
Yeah, Prestwich Hayes beating West Didsbury and Chorlton. They didn't.
No, they didn't.
And Holker Oboes against Cone. I expected Holker to win that one.
So did I. They lost 5-3.
And then where they seemed to pick up really was the midweek games. So I had 1, 2, 3, 4, predicted just 5 wrong and got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 correct.
Yeah, I got 7 correct during the midweek game, so it wasn't as bad as I thought. But yeah, it was just those couple of results on the Saturday that kind of put paid to me, unfortunately.
Yeah, so 23 for me.
21.
I'm really pleased with that. So listen, we'll look at the predictions for the coming week, starting with tonight's game, which is probably well underway now because we're recording late.
On the
Don't be looking at your phone.
It's 8:30 now. The first half is at least underway. Prestwich Hayes versus AFC Liverpool.
Yeah, I'm going to go for...
I'm saying Prestwich Hayes.
Do you reckon?
No, I don't. I think I'm just not normally just saying that. I'm going to say a draw, actually, given the form that AFC Liverpool have been in.
I'm going to go for AFC Liverpool.
Fine.
Premier Division on Saturday, AFC Liverpool versus Pilks.
That one's a bit more straightforward.
AFC Liverpool. Atherton LR versus Ramsbottom. Jockeying for position, really, because...
Well, no, they're not.
Well, no, they're not now.
No, so I'd say Atherton LR, personally.
I think this would probably be one where now the team's got anything on the line.
No.
So I'm going to go for a draw.
Fine, okay.
Chadderton versus Stockport Town.
Chadderton, that's where there's something to play for.
They've got to win. Cheadletown versus Prestwich Hayes.
Prestwich Hayes.
Prestwich Hayes. City of Liverpool, Barnoldswick Town. Exton versus West Didsbury. Oh, you know what? I'm going to go for Exton.
I'll say West Didsbury.
FC St Helens versus Abbey Hay.
FC St Helens, I think. I'll close out the season. Yeah, close out the season with a flourish, I think, for them.
Earlham versus Charnock Richard.
Well, again, a team with something real to play for.
Earlham, let's go for that.
But Charnock Richard proving a proper Jekyll and Hyde team again, aren't they? I will say Earlham for this one. So
it's the big game. Litherland Remyca versus Burscough. I know our hearts say Litherland because we want to see him pull off a a big escape.
I'm still backing them with my head, to be honest. They've had really good home results against Ramy twice and Wythenshawe. I think they were well beaten by LR, but I think on their day they could beat anybody. And the thing is, with Burscough, their season is sort of tailing off with a little bit of a whimper. I hope he doesn't mind me saying. So I hope
Dempsey will be disappointed the way the season's tailed off. He'll want to finish this season off with a win.
I know he will.
I think Remy will want to have got more to fight for, but they might just fall short. And when I say fall short, it could be a draw. The most realistic sort of result could be a draw here, and Remy just miss out.
You're a proper nasty little sod.
No, I mean,
after all of that fairy tale stuff and doing
I want Remy to win.
Then say it.
I want them to win, but I equally want Burscough to, polish off the season with a little bit of a
finesse.
Win. Yeah, a bit of a win.
You equally want them.
Well, I don't want Burscough to listen. Okay, I'm putting my neck firmly on the chopping block here. I'm going to go for Litherland. There's a big turnaround. And nothing against Dempsey or Jay for that matter.
It's just football.
This is just romance. There's nothing for Burscough to play for other than pride. But Remy, it could make a huge difference for them.
Yeah, really
and this new manager, of course, Steve, who we've spoken to today.
Yes.
So, yeah, I want him to win. Padiham versus FC Isle of Man.
Padiham.
South Liverpool versus Glossop North End.
Oh, God.
I'm going to go for Glossop North End.
Yeah, so am I, actually.
Wythenshawe versus Longridge. Wythenshawe. First Division North, Ashton Town versus Main Road.
God, Ashton Town.
Yeah, I mean, is there anything to play for there?
For Town? Absolutely not.
No. Right, I'll go for... You go for a draw, did you say?
Nah, Ashton Town, that.
Ashton Town, I'll go for Ashton Town. Daisy Hill versus Maghull, I'm going for Maghull.
I'm also going for Maghull.
Droylsden versus Darwin, go for Droylsden.
Yeah, I'm going for Droylsden as well.
Fulwood Amateurs versus Cone.
Fully Amateurs.
Going to go for Cone. Nelson versus MSB Woolton.
Ooh, MSB got a fair old bit to play for. Nelson, all the pressure is off.
Relaxed. Nelson.
Relax.
Going for Nelson.
Draw.
Squiresgate versus Baker Borough.
Squiresgate.
Well, there's an outside chance for Baker Borough, as we know. So I'm going to go for Baker Borough.
All right, then.
I don't know whether they'll qualify for the playoffs because
there's asking a lot there.
There's a few little equations going on there.
Yeah.
So, but I'll go for Baker Borough. Steeton versus... We're expecting a big gate there, by the way. So, Steeton versus Holker Old Boys.
Steeton.
Go for Holker Old Boys. Thornton Cleveleys versus Garstang. I'm going for Thornton Cleveleys.
So am I. I tried to get to Gamble Road, actually, last week. I was in St Anne's. Do you know how long it takes to get to Gamble Road from St Anne's? It's 34 minutes. I thought it was just...
St Anne's Lytham.
Yeah, I thought it was just up the bleeding road. It's not. It's full on Lord of the Rings trek.
Yeah, you're going towards... Next stop's Fleetwood, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but I thought it was just up the road. Friggin' isn't.
So what were you doing in St Anne's?
It was the 1 year anniversary of Maggie dying, so we went to the beach to remember her, because that was where she was on her last day.
Oh, I didn't know that. Didn't know it was St Anne's.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on to the Division 1 South.
Yeah.
Barnton versus Stockport Georgians.
Yeah, the Georgians.
Yeah, go on then. Eccleshaw versus Cheadle Heath Nomads.
Needle Heath Chomads.
Yeah, Eccleshaw.
Yeah, Eccleshaw.
New Mills versus Telford Town.
New Mills.
New Mills. Sandbach versus Asheville.
Draw.
I'm going for Asheville. CNA Cup final, Cheshire CNA Cup final at Gresty Road. Crewe Alexandra versus Runcorn Town. Obviously disappointed, losing out in the final of the Cheshire, the other cup,
Liverpool
CNA Cup. This is an opportunity for them to win something on top of the championship.
Yeah, it's a big ask against Crewe Alexandra. I'm sure Crewe will play a slightly younger squad than
Yeah,
normal.
it'll be a development squad, won't it?
Yeah,
So
well,
I'm going to go for Runcorn on this one.
I'm going to go for Crewe still.
Yeah, and then Derbyshire Senior Cup final, Glossop North End versus Ilkeston, played at Derby County's ground.
Whoa.
That's a great setting, isn't
That's
it?
a good
Pride Park
setting,
Stadium.
I'm
going for Ilkeston.
Yeah, I'll join you in that.
Yeah.
Alrighty then.
So that concludes the very much smaller fixture list.
I was going to say there won't be many around now. It'll just be the playoffs sort of from
and
here on
the
in.
Premier League next. No, it's all.
No, it's not. It's
dusted,
El
isn't it?
Finalmente this weekend.
Yeah, brilliant. So, I'd like to know how many times I've won the predictions, because I think I'm slightly ahead.
No, you're not. You
definitely
lost 7 in a row at the beginning of the season.
Only because I didn't present them.
Yeah, if a team doesn't present its squad,
But I've won about 5 on the road, didn't I? At one stage.
you won 4, and then I won 1, and then you won 1, and then I won 1, and then you've won 1 again.
You have a really good memory. You have.
I do.
Worries me.
I'm winning.
Right. Anyway, so go on. Where are we now then? Oh, listen. Can we just look at that league table for a little minute then? So,
Right. Which one? Who?
we were looking at Division 1 North, weren't we?
Yes.
So Squiresgate play Bacup Borough.
Yes.
So if they win, they could go ahead of them. So there's a 6 point
so if Bacup Borough beat Squires Gate and Darwin lose to Drawsden, which we think that they might, that could open the door for Bacup Borough to sneak into the playoffs.
Yeah,
That's a stupid proposition if you asked us that a week ago.
So they would have to score 3 clear goals.
Yep.
Bacup to go above Squiresgate.
And Darwin. 1, 2, 3, 4.
We could make them 4
7,
and it would
6,
make
5,
them...
4. No, they'd need more than that, because that would bring it to...
Oh, they'd both be 4, wouldn't they?
Yeah,
Both be
and
plus 4.
but Squires Gate... if Bacup score 3 clear goals, they will have scored more than Squires Gate, which I think is the next basis on what it's based on.
So 3 clear goals could do it.
Bacup Borough, 3 clear goals could do it. And the way Oliver Hodgson is for Bacup Borough, you wouldn't put anything past him. Equally enough, though, Squiresgate do have Dean Ing, so it's going to be a nightmare for defences, whatever happens. I expect both of them to be on the score sheet.
But that's a big game.
It's a very big game, possibly the big one in Division 1 North. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the only one I wanted to mention, because there's a huge amount
Riding on it.
Brilliant.
Fabulous weekend.
In fact, if you're thinking of getting to a neutral game this weekend,
go down to Blackpool.
Yeah, go down to Blackpool, yeah.
Squiresgate.
Yeah, you can even buy a sticker rock while you're there.
Yes, you can.
Yeah. So moving on to the final part of the programme, we normally discuss Skelmersdale United Football Club. We'll do so again, but there's not a lot we can talk about because there's no game. We've had no game last weekend. We've got no game this weekend. So preparing for Nalgo a week on Saturday.
Yeah. Did we have training on Wednesday?
No.
Okay, right. So we can't even talk about how training went because there wasn't any training.
No, unfortunately, a lot of people were ill. There's a bug going round. I've had it.
There's always a bug going round.
A few of the players have got it. I think Andy Barlow's picked up a bit of a bug as well.
I think that's largely down to the amount of Guinness he drinks and not anything to do with the
Guinness is supposed to help cure.
That's an old wives' tale from the 19th century.
Full of fibre, I know that.
It's full of iron, yeah.
Fibre and iron.
I'm not entirely convinced.
Yeah.
It's going to make for a decent immune system.
So, no, we didn't train, but listen, it's given us ample opportunity for all those that are carrying knocks, at this part of the season to recuperate. We're back in training on Wednesday, all going well, illness and injury permitting.
Good.
We should be training again next Wednesday ahead of the Nalgo game.
Decent.
And then we've got those final 3 games, which we're hoping we could... we've got 3 altogether.
Yeah, Nalgo, River,
and
GTA.
Yeah, 3 games.
I thought you meant after the Nalgo
No, we've got final 3 games. So what I'm saying is we go into those final 3 games there with everything to play for.
We certainly do. Yeah, I know. On the table,
certainly pride,
and to get off the we're off the bottom of the table, but we feel like we could finish top 10. I think that's reasonable.
Yeah.
We get 9 points from those 3 games. We could probably finish in the playoffs at that point, and then we finish in the top 5.
Well, the way it's gone this season, if another 7 teams resign from the league, then we could finish top 5.
Decent.
Yeah.
I'll
so listen, if you want to all resign and
just save us a
regroup
headache
and come back next season and save us the headache, then
God, the way they resign, probably end up in the counties with us.
Yeah, I know.
Now then, shall we move on to what we've learned?
Yeah.
I suppose. Yeah, it's a bit of a shorter episode this weekend because, as I say, the season is.
I think it's dragged on a little bit.
I think we managed
to
on.
Yeah, I think we managed to drag it out a little bit.
Honest to God, we are like 2 old men in a pub. Anyway, so what have you learned, Frank? What have you learned this week?
Never to write anybody off.
I know.
Particularly at non-league level. I mentioned it before. There's always a couple of teams here and there in different leagues that either, they bring a manager in that manages to turn things around on a shoestring budget. Or alternatively, there's always somebody that comes in with, a bigger budget. They found some money from the down behind the sofa, managed to throw a few bob at it and get themselves back in the reckoning. So just when we thought, and we've written off a lot of teams this season, haven't we?
We've certainly written off City and Liverpool. I think we wrote
off Atherton and getting into the playoffs at one stage.
I don't know if that's writing them off, isn't it?
I think we did. I think we thought, this is a season of consolidation for them.
Yeah, because about 95% of the population who follow non-league football at our level would think that. Who does back-to-back promotions in a row unless they're Bury?
Yeah.
Mental. Absolute bonkers.
So that's my point anyway. I've learned that never write anybody off.
Yeah. For me, I think the one thing that I've learned is there is way more romance of football at non-league level than there is at Premier League professional level. I know there are the stories of fairy tale are sort of well documented in professional sport, but you'll find far more better quality romance in non-league football. And down at our level, we've got an amazing opportunity for one of the biggest fairy tale stories in non-league, and I really genuinely hope it works out for them.
Mentioning that, I listened to a podcast. Mark Hayes, who's the director of football, is he? FC sporting director at FC St Helens, former chairman of Ashton Town and Pilks, and he basically said that he followed football. He was an avid season ticket holder at Wigan Athletic, followed them home and away. I think we mentioned it when he was on the podcast
that's
a while back.
That.
Yeah. I think he mentioned then he went all the way up to the Premiership with Wigan, and then it changed for him. And that's when he sort of dropped back out of, fell out of love with the professional football and the Premier League, and then decided to go and support grassroots football. So there's a lot to be said about grassroots football.
Love it.
Yeah,
there you go.
And it was a fantastic experience. I'm glad you enjoyed Clitheroe.
Yeah,
we'll go again. I'm going to pick a few more clubs out for you that we should visit next season.
Amazing.
Because there's other clubs just like Clitheroe.
Need an education.
Yeah, it's just that romantic feeling of what non-league football should be about. And let's not forget that you've still got, even if you've got 2 clubs in Skelmersdale, you've still got 2 clubs. One currently playing in Skem, and one fighting to get back into Skem. Both need to be supported. Just support your local football club.
Honestly, it's miles better than the professional game.
Yeah, well, you look at the amount of support that Clitheroe back in the day when the North West Counties, they were a well-supported team in the North West Counties, but nowhere near as well-supported as they are now.
Jeez, yeah. As we say, 450 seems like a bit of a poor turnout for them.
Westonsbury and Chorlton were never a big supported football club either.
No, but they grab the student population and all of a sudden it's 800, 900 a game.
there's a lot of football clubs that have benefited from. We've said it before, from the pandemic.
Yeah.
Gates increased.
Yeah.
Sometimes twofold in at particular clubs.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot to be said about non-league football. It's more enjoyable. You can talk to people that you never normally talk to. We spoke to
so many friends.
The Blue Rinse guy on Saturday. Really nice bloke. You wouldn't end up speaking to people like that at Premier League level.
Nah, you wouldn't. You'd not be able to hear
You'd get
yourself
lost
think.
in the crowd,
You'd be in one chair for the entire game. You might speak to the person next to you, but that'd be it. And you'd never
And you
make
wouldn't
friends
get
with
the
that.
opportunity to turn around and say to a player, listen, he's not going to change his mind and be heard as well. Because he turned around and looked at you, didn't he, briefly?
Little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, listen, I'll leave the final words of the show to the dulcet tones of AJ Vergette.
You've been listening to the Speaking Frankly Football Show with me, AJ Vergette, and my co-host, Mr. Frank Hughes. This podcast is available on streaming services wherever you get your podcasts, including Spotify and Amazon Music. Please rate and review, as we do thrive off hearing your feedback. Please also subscribe so that you can find out when a new episode of the show has been released. We're also available on social media sites, most prevalently Facebook and X, under the banner term Speaking Frankly Football Show. And so from myself and Frank, thank you very, very much for tuning into this episode, and we will see you very, very soon with another one. Until then, goodbye for now.